these financial resolutions with respect to the BPS, that is the budget policy statement, that the national government budget ceiling be approved at 2.5 trillion shillings. Also resolves that the allocation of county government equitable share be approved at 405 billion Kenya shilling. Resolves that consistent with the latest audited and approved revenues for financial year 2020 and 2021. Amounting to 1.5 trillion. The allocation to the equalization fund be set as 7.8 billion. So these are figures that the members, as they sit this morning, will be able to, of course, dissect for the public to be able to understand. But all these figures or numbers are with regards to the budget process or the budget cycle that each and every financial year the executive, of course, through parliament has to set. I can see the majority whip, Honorable Silvana Sosoro, indicating that the number may have been achieved. Just to allow me to hand you over to this live broadcast brought to you by PBU in partnership with KBC. Good morning.
All members, I confirm that we create order. The Honorable Hillary, get a seat. The Honorable Kamatek, get a seat. Member for Sirisia, get a seat. Members, I confirm that you got quorum. The Honorable Italangi, the Honorable Member for Lugari and your as well colleague, would you? All members, I confirm that we now have quorum and we can start business.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority whip.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, March 12th, 2025, morning sitting. A, reports of the Auditor General and financial statement for the years ended 30th June 2021, 30th June 2022, 30th June 2023, and the certificates therein in respect of 1, ACK Nyanduma Secondary School, 2, AIC Mutunguni Girls Secondary School, 3, AIC Nyayo Girls Secondary School, 4, Adi Secondary School, 5, Bahati PCA Girls Secondary School, 6, Barazani Girls High School, 7, Cheplachebei East Secondary School, 8, Dundori Secondary School, 9, Gidurimu Girls High School, 10, Gikundui Secondary School, 11, Gilgil Girls High School, 12, Ilbisil Girls Secondary School, 13, Ivaini Secondary School, 14, Kakuyuni Boys Secondary School, 15, Kasikeu Girls Secondary School, 16, Kingogoi Secondary School, 17, Kitondo Boys Secondary School, 18, Kiunguruini Mixed Secondary School, 19, Kaolel High School, 20, Kiondoni Girls High School, 21, Lamudiak High School, 22, Lugulu Girls High School, 23, Marafa Boys Secondary School, 24, Matungulu Girls Secondary School, 25, Mboni Boys High School, 26, Merit Secondary School, 27, Molo Academy Boys Secondary School, 28 Mona Secondary School, 29 Mona Secondary School, 30 Musuaini Secondary School, 31 Nakuru Central Secondary School, 32 Joros Girls High School, 33 Mseveni Secondary School, 34 Olkajuodo High School, 35 RCEA Biwot Ngelel Tarit Secondary School, 36 Regina Saili Girls High School, Karinga, 37 Reverend Muhoro Secondary School for the Deaf, 38 South Tetu Girls High School, 39 St. Augustine Gikondi Boys Secondary School, 40 St. Bakita Kiburia Girls Secondary School, 41 St. Mary's Kamoria Secondary School, 42 St. Monica Munyaka Girls Secondary School, Nyeri, and 43 Utumishi Boys Academy. B, submissions of the nominee for the National Government Constituency Development Fund committees for the following constituency: in Abokoi, Eldai, Alego, Usonga, Bahati, number 5, Bomashoge, Borabu, Bomet East, Borabu, Budalangi, Bura, Chepalungu, Chesumei, Embakasi North, Embakasi West, Mgwen, Amuria, Dikir, Gishugu, Igembe North, Isiolo South, Kaloleni, Keses, Kibwezi East, Kibwezi West, Kieni, Kilgoris, Kiminini, Kinango, Kinoin, Langata, Lari, Likuyani, Limuru, Malava, Mandera South, Marakwet East, Mavoko, Mbere North, Mbooni, Mogotio, Molo, Mosop, Mwingi West, Narok West, Ndiwa, Njoro, North Imenti, North Hor, North Mugirango, Nyakach, Nyeri Town, Pokot South, Rongai, Ruaraka, Ruiru, Singoet, Sion, Soy, Suba South, Subukia, Tetu, Daraka, Tinderer, Tumbo, Voi, and Westlands. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I lay.
Thank you. Sigowet Soin. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
We have, I don't know if members in the house, I've seen Honorable Monchoke in the house. Monchoke, go ahead. And please read the statement as is.
I will, Speaker.
Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44.2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Education regarding the alarming state rate of drug and substance abuse or use among university students in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, drug and substance abuse among young people, especially university students, is an increasing public health concern. A recent report released by the National Authority for Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse in January 2025 revealed that 45% of university students have used at least one drug in their lifetime. The most commonly available and accessible substances in the university environment and surrounding areas include alcohol, tobacco, cannabis, and cat, miran, and muguka. Honorable Speaker, many young people resort to using drugs to cope with the social and psychological challenges they encounter during various stages of development, particularly from adolescence to young adulthood. These challenges may include the desire to feel good, the need for social interaction, and issues related to personal or social adjustment. Additionally, many students find themselves away from parental supervision and authority, which creates an environment that encourages and controls
you shall not do what you are trying
experimentation.
to do. Order. The Honorable Nchoki shall listen to in silence. Proceed.
Additionally, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Ruku is out of order.
Order. The Honorable Ruku. The Honorable Ruku. The Honorable Ruku. You shall be silent as a member puts his statement across. The Honorable Nchoki, you can start afresh. You can start from the beginning.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for protecting me. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Education regarding the alarming rate of drug and substance use among university students in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, drug and substance abuse among young people, especially university students, is an increasing public health concern. A recent report released by the National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse in January 2025 revealed that 45% of university students have used at least one drug in their lifetime. The most commonly available and accessible substances in the university environment and surrounding areas include alcohol, tobacco, cannabis, and cat, i.e. Miraa and Muguka. Honorable Speaker, many young people resort to using drugs to cope with the social and psychological challenges they encounter during various stages of development, particularly from adolescence to young adulthood. These challenges may include the desire to feel good, the need for social interaction, and issues related to personal or social adjustment. Additionally, many students find themselves away from parental supervision and authority, which creates an environment that encourages uncontrolled experimentation with the drugs and other risky behaviors. These factors can negatively impact students' academic performance, mental health, and overall well-being, even post-university stage. Honorable Speaker, it's against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Health on the following. 1, actions being taken to address drug and substance abuse among university students in Kenya. 2, plans put in place by the Ministry of Education to provide affordable and accessible treatment and rehabilitation services, especially tailored to meet the unique needs of students in institutions of higher learning. 3, prevention programs, guidance and counseling services available for students at the universities in Kenya. And 4, efforts being taken to accredit private hostels offering accommodation to university students to maintain control and to enforce compliance to standards so as to prevent access to abuse of drugs. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. I'll allow a few comments, but Honorable Ruku, you'll have to go. Order. You'll go up there and get your card and come. I'll give you a chance to speak. Correct. Go ahead and put your card in there. As he does that, Honorable Ruku, go ahead now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, according to Crop Act Regulation 2023, which was published on April 25, 2023, recognizes Muguka and Miraa not as drug, but as stimulants, just like coffee and T. It is wrong, Mr. Speaker, for the honorable member to stand and say that Mogoka is a drug which is affecting negatively the people of this republic. I want, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Njoke to withdraw that statement that Mogoka and Mira is a drug. Whereas we know the Crop Act 2023 Mira regulation defines what Mira is, as well as defines clearly what Mogoka is. And nowhere in the law, that regulation, where Mogoka or Mira is defined as a drug, is extremely against even Article 11 of our Constitution, which recognizes our culture. And our culture is part of the indigenous seeds. And one of the indigenous seeds, which is culturally recognized in my community, Mbere, is Mogoka. It has a cultural meaning, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
And for this House to reason to a statement which want to rule out or to...
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Munyiri. Can we allow Honorable Munyiri to say something on this? It's not a debate we are engaging on. You got your chance.
Please, I can't. Please protect me, Mr. Speaker.
No, Mr. Speaker, 2 seconds.
No, let him speak after I speak, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. I think, Mr. Speaker, I take great exception when Roku tries to Honorable Roku, sorry, tries to equate tea and coffee with Mogoka. I think in the English definition of drug, please, you will protect me, Mr. Speaker. He cannot claim that Mogoka and tea fall under the same, under any circumstances. A drug, according to the dictionary, is a medicine or other substance which has a psychological effect when ingested or otherwise introduced into the body. I did not hear Honorable Onchoke talk about illicit or licit. He just said a drug. And clearly Mogoka is a drug. It's a sub. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Ruku. Do you consider cigarettes as a drug? Sorry? Cigarettes. Would you say cigarettes is a drug? Cigarettes. Cigarettes. Would you say that's a drug? You don't say cigarettes.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, according to the laws of the Republic of Kenya,
I've asked you a question. I've asked, would you consider cigarettes a drug or not?
Answer your question, Mr. Speaker. According to Article 11 of our Constitution, and according to Mera regulation, which was published on 25th April 2023, Mr. Speaker, Mogoka and Mera are not recognized as drugs in the Republic of Kenya. And therefore, it is wrong, Mr. Speaker, for the honorable member to categorize Mogoka as a drug. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honorable buyer.
Mr. Speaker, you know, Honorable Ruku has always used this idea of Mogoka to win votes in his place. But I want to warn him this time it will not happen. But I want to say this. You see, there's something called legislative mischief. Legislative mischief, which Honorable Ruku participated in to sneak a definition of Mogoka in the definition of Mira, you know, and used the regulations and sneaked in something funny there. But we're going to cure it. And I want to tell Ruku that this parliament will cure the legislative mischief that he did with his brother when he was in the ministry. But I also want to say this. The Honorable Choke, Honorable Speaker, he's reading about statistics from NACADA. This is not his statement. It is statement from NACADA. NACADA is the agency in this country that controls the drugs, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, Honorable Ruku needs to know that Mogoka is not the only crop in this country, you know, and he needs to allow other people to speak on this crop. This crop destroys people in this country. It destroys young people. This crop is illicit. It is a drug. We will get rid of it from this house.
Thank you, Honorable Bashir.
Honorable Speaker, I want to support and acknowledge the statement by Honorable Nchoke. It is true that these are drugs that actually affect the lives of many people, especially the youth. It's known. It has been classified as a drug, especially this substance called Moguka. This is the one that is destroying the lives of many youths and people.
Thank you.
The statistics is there. Nakada has spoken. Even Ministry of Health 7 years ago has classified these things as illicit drugs.
Thank you. Thank you. The Honorable Mutuse?
Mr. Speaker, I rise on a procedural issue because I have listened very carefully. Would you protect me, Mr. Speaker, so that this is a debate in chamber and not a heckling chamber?
The Honorable Ruku. Order. The Honorable Ruku, take your seat. Honorable members, the Honorable Mutuse, take your seat. Order. This statement, the statement. No, I'm not going to throw anybody out of Parliament this morning. This request on statement is referred to the Committee on Education, and that's where the matter ends. The next statement request is by the Honorable Peter Mbogo. The Honorable Peter Mbogo. Go ahead. The Honorable Peter Mbogo. I already have referred your. Is there any member of the Committee of Education in the House today? Okay, can you go ahead, Honorable Gesario? 1 minute, Honorable Mbogo. 1 minute, Honorable Mbogo. 1 minute. Go ahead, Gesario. Go ahead. Honorable Gesario.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We'll give a response immediately after recess.
Okay,
That's
thank
2
you.
weeks.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Mwatate.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the Chairperson of Departmental Committee on Labor regarding the unfair dismissal of Mr. Paul Mondoe Mzenge by Kenya Ports Authority. Honorable Speaker, Mr. Paul Mondoe Mzenge was employed by Kenya Ports Authority on 8 March 1985 as an electrical technician of staff number KPA number 88642. He worked diligently for 5 years and was confirmed as a permanent and pensionable employee after completing his probation period. However, on 3rd July 1990, he received a letter stating that his services were terminated on account of persistent breach of discipline. In addition, the parastatal invited Mr. Paul Mzenge for a disciplinary hearing, but failed to give him sufficient notice to prepare for the hearing and also did not provide him with an opportunity to be heard and show cause on the issues brought forward against him. Honorable Speaker, Article 41(1) of the Constitution provides that every person has the right to fair labor practices. Additionally, Section 43 of the Employment Act, Cap 226, provides that in any claim arising out of termination of a contract, the employer is required to prove the reasons for termination, failure to which the termination shall be deemed to have been unfair. Mr. Mzenge has suffered injustices for over 30 years since being unfairly dismissed by the Kenya Ports Authority, which failed to prove reasons for the dismissal as no evidence was provided to the employee contrary to the law. Honorable Speaker, it is against this backdrop that I seek a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Labor on the following. 1, reasons for the unlawful dismissal of Mr. Paul Mondoe Mzenge by the Kenya Ports Authority on 3rd July 1990, and steps taken by Kenya Ports Authority to pay any outstanding benefits and pension owed to Mr. Paul Mzenge, as well as compensation for the unwarranted violation of his labor rights guaranteed under Article 41 of the Constitution. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Baya, I cannot see the chairperson of the Committee on Labor. Would you take charge of this? I hope you got the question.
I think we will let them know because I think they're in liaison committee right now. And when they're done, then we will let him have the statement.
In how long can this be?
Well, give us 2 weeks, and specifically after recess.
So can we get an answer the week when you come back for recess?
Much obliged.
Okay. The Honorable Peter, you take it up with him so that this is done at the right time. The member for Chuka Igamangombe.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 442C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport Infrastructure regarding construction of Kirege Forest, Mobukuro Road in Chuka Igamangombe constituency. Honorable Speaker, in 2018, contract number WRWC 422 was awarded for the construction of Keria Kadwana Road to bitumen standards. This project covered a total of 32 kilometers, of which 7 kilometers were located in Chuka Igamangombe constituency. However, in 2020, Kadwana town situated in Chuka Igamangombe constituency was designated as a municipality, and subsequently the Kenya Urban Loans Authority, KULA, took over the 7-kilometer section of the road that was managed by Kenya Rural Loans Authority at the time. Honorable Speaker, in the same year following consultations with the Director General and the Regional Manager for Kenya Rural Loans Authority, the 7-kilometer Kirege Forest Mobukuro Road was selected and agreed upon as an alternative road to be undertaken by KERA to replace the 7-kilometer section already taken up by KURA. The Kirege Forest Mobukuro Road was identified as a priority infrastructure initiative to enhance connectivity and benefit the constituents. Despite this agreement, the road is yet to be constructed. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on the following. 1, report on the status of the 7 kilometers Kirege Forest Mobukuro Road construction project, including any financial and administrative factors that have led to the delay in construction. And 2, plans put in place by the ministry to ensure completion of construction of the said road and the specific date of completion of the project. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Before you answer, the Honorable Wamboka, Honorable Jack Wamboka, just go to the bar and come back. And you should not repeat that. The Honorable Jack Wamboka, you are out of order. This house shall have decorum. Is the chairman of Committee on Transport? Then we'll buy again. This is in your hands. Right. Then we'll buy. I hope you got the question.
Yes. First week after recess, we'll have a response. I will inform the chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Much obliged.
But before you go to the next question, join me in welcoming students from Kerugoya Municipality Primary School, Kirinyaga Central, Kirinyaga County, and students from Winners Academy, Kajiado South, Kajiado County. They are seated in the public gallery, and they are welcome to follow the proceedings of the House this morning. On the same breath, honorable members, join me in welcoming students from Riara Group of Schools, from the Dagoretti North Constituency, Nairobi County, and students from Kibauni Secondary School, Mwala, Machakos County. They are seated in the Speaker's Gallery, and they are welcome to follow proceedings this morning. Thank you. Then Parashina, 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I take this opportunity to welcome the students in the public gallery and also in the Speaker Gallery to this Lancaster House, whereby they have come to see practically what happens here and follow our proceedings today. I want to encourage the students as they go back, they take serious issue to do with education, because academic or education is the start of everything in life. And majority of us who are here, or members who are here, have also passed the same route, or they once upon a time are also students. And also we encourage them that one day they will get us an opportunity to come here and be members of parliament. Mr. Speaker, in a special way, let me welcome Winners Academy. Winners Academy is a school in Kajiado South constituency, in Ikimana, in Loitoto sub-county. It is a school that was started in the year 2008 by Miss Maina with the inspiration of developing a child as a whole, both spiritually, psychologically, and even in terms of academy.
Thank you.
So as I'm celebrating because of starting a very nice school in my place, I know the Winners Academy has produced learners who have joined even national school, for example, Mangu, and also we have who have also proceeded to university and pursue medicine, engineering, and other economic courses. So, Mr. Speaker, I want just to say I'm proud of them, and I wish all the students mercy safaris back home, and I wish them that once they go back, they do the best and continue education. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me that opportunity.
Thank you. All members, I have two questions to independent officers and commissions. The first one is by Honorable Baya of Kilifi North. You got a question to the TSC? It's in the order paper.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would like to ask question 001 of 2025 on the following one. Could the Teachers Service Commission explain why Mrs. Janet Kadzo of TSC number 468522 was dismissed by the Teacher Service Commission while serving as a head teacher at Garithi Primary School? 2, clarify whether Ms. Kadzo was accorded fair hearing in accordance with the applicable statutes prior to her dismissal. And 3, explain why other teachers who were dismissed on similar grounds as Mrs. Kadzo were reinstated while her efforts to seek reinstatement by the Commission have been futile. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. This request is referred to the Committee on Education, who shall summon the CEO of TSC to deal with the matter. Is Honorable Kasalu in the house? Honorable Kasalu, you have a chance now to... I know you've just come, but in the order paper, you can use the order paper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I raise to ask question 004 of 2025 to the Teacher Service Commission. Number 1, I would like the Commission to elaborate on the criterion used for recruiting primary school teachers and clarify whether there is a different criterion for recruitment of female teachers, particularly in Kitui County. Number 2, explain the reasons that led to the female teachers applicants in Kitui County being discriminated against in the recently concluded recruitment process for primary school teachers based on their birthplace, despite the fact female teachers applicants providing their marriage certificate and affidavits indicating that they're indicating their status and are residents in Kitui County. And number 3, state the actions being taken by the Commission to ensure that the affected teachers are accorded equal employment opportunities given their exemplary performance during the recent recruitment exercise. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. It's a very weighty issue raised by the member there, that there are ladies who are married in counties where they can't be employed because they can't produce certificates of marriage. And I hope the committee concerned, the Committee on Education, will get to the bottom of this matter, because I don't think it's just a matter of Kitui County, but it's an issue across the board. So the question is accordingly to be replied to before the Committee on Education. Next order.
Order number 8, procedural motion, exemption of business from the provisions of Standing Order number 43.
Go ahead, Honorable Baya. Go ahead.
Thank you. 1 second. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House resolves to exempt the business appearing as order numbers 9 and 10 in today's order paper from the provisions of Standing Order 43, being a Wednesday morning, a day allocated for business not sponsored by the majority or minority party or business sponsored by a committee. Honorable Speaker, as you may be aware, that we have started the financial cycle, right? And that there are certain documents that must be provided and must be debated in this House so that we can pass the budget cycle that we have started. One of those documents, Honorable Speaker, is the budget policy statement. The budget policy statement must come to this House, be debated, and actually passed. Another important piece of legislation, Honorable Speaker, is the County Government's Additional Allocations Bill, which we started yesterday. These pieces of legislation must be completed before we can now move full cycle into the budget cycle and make sure that the financial year is properly done. So, Honorable Speaker, it is for those reasons that I will request this House to approve the exemption of the motions 9 and 10, that they be debated today, which is actually a day set aside for private members' motions. And because of that, Honorable Speaker, I would like us to start on the report on the 2025 budget policy statement. I think the chairperson, who is also the Honorable Deputy Speaker, is ready to move this motion. And also we can resume the debate that was interrupted yesterday on the County Government Additional Allocations Bill so that, Honorable, we can make progress to ensure that the budget cycle is properly done. Honorable Speaker, I would request the Honorable Wako, our Deputy Whip, to second this motion. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I second this motion because it is very important at this particular time. Giving it enough time for members to debate and understand is the most important thing that we can do. And that is why I second. Thank you.
Oh, members, I therefore propose the question that this House resolves to exempt the business appearing as orders numbers 9 and 10 in today's order paper from the provisions of Standing Order 43, being a Wednesday morning, a day allocated for business not sponsored by the majority or minority party or business sponsored by a committee. Order. Order, don't go by. Take your seat. Don't go by. What do you want to say?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Such a motion, you can't say put the question because yesterday we approved, we extended the timings for tomorrow and the day after. Now, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that it is the majority leader, you cannot belabor this House with business from the executive to ignore the business of members when Wednesday is meant for members' business. Looking at the order paper, there are several motions that have been there. Why should we exempt business that is we have already planned for the day of tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday morning? We also have a session for Friday. So why do you want to ignore the business for today? And looking at, Chair, what is ahead of us today, we have the voting of several committees. Why do you want to bring such business when you are aware that we will be stepping out to do voting? So Mr. Speaker, I oppose this motion by the majority leader. It is not a priority. This is the day we are meant to discuss member. And I want to tell him the CDF uses today was a private member's bill. This is a very important and sacred moment for private issues of this House. You can do your business in the afternoon. And tomorrow we have approved that the business that is there, the majority leader table, we can go ahead with the business today. So, Mr. Speaker, I oppose the motion before the House. It should not see the light of the day, Mr. Speaker, because it is not even important. I don't understand the speed at which they have. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Dawood. Honorable Baya, this is your motion. What's out of order? No, you Honorable Dawood, let's hear what Honorable Baya has to say. Yes.
Honorable Speaker, it is very sad.
Is it a point of order? No. Is it a point of order or you want to argue?
No. It's a point of order, Honorable
What is
Speaker.
out of order?
You know, the order of business in this House and the standing orders that are provided, Honorable Speaker, put certain motions as important. Certain motions. That is what the standing order says. And they're given priority even in the standing order. So, Honorable Speaker, the budget policy statement is a very important motion that is recognized even by the standing orders. So for the likes of one person from wherever he comes from, this Honorable Gogoyo, who has now acquired a lot of bad manners by belonging to Honorable Speaker, he needs to understand. He needs to understand, Honorable Speaker, that a budget policy statement is very, very important.
Take your seat. This is a motion, and we are debating it. So you cannot say that a member has bad manners because he has a view that is opposed to yours. The Honorable Dawood, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the majority leader should hold his horses because we support this procedural motion because of the time-bound budget, and I think Honorable Gogoyo is just playing to the gallery for now. But we support this procedural motion because it's very important for this country and for the National Assembly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Rachel Nyamai.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support this motion, Honorable Speaker. And I would like to say that in the budget making cycle, BPS, budget policy statement, is the most important. And this House, Honorable Speaker, guided by the House Business Committee, can drop anything just for the BPS process to go so that we can have the estimates. And I think it is very important for the Honorable Gogoyo to learn. He's normally a very fast learner. He's good, actually. And I would like to tell him that just speak very quickly. The moment you hear anything about budget, say that you support it because it is what brought you here. These children from Riara who are seated here today, I'm sure they are very keen to know what is this procedural motion about. It is just the procedure that we would like to change so that we have BPS passing today. And I think, Gogoyo, when you hear about budget, just say yes, because that is what brought you here. That is what will make you take goodies to the people who elected you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Sabina Chege.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity, and I stand to support this motion. Mr. Speaker, I understand my friend Gogoyo is still learning.
He's not Gogoyo. He's the Honorable Gogoyo.
That's why I've even started with my friend, so it's even deeper
He's
than
the
Honorable.
Honorable Gogoyo.
Yes, so Honorable Gogoyo
Correct.
is still learning, Mr. Speaker. Sometimes special occasions, special situations, and especially when we have reports or motions that have timelines, we may need to relook at the order. And so I would request, Mr. Speaker, that we support the request and the motion so that when we are able to deal with the report on budget policy, even what we are looking at, and I'm one of the affected persons because I had a special motion, we will still require support from the budget, and the budget policy is quite important. And looking at the order number 10 also, the amount of money that needs the additional allocation to the county government is also a very important motion.
Thank you.
So I support Mr. Speaker, and I urge the other honorable members to support. Thank you.
Lastly on this is Mokali Mulu. Last.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to say I support this motion. But even as we support, a few things must go on record, Honorable Speaker. If you look at the calendar of this House, it is only Wednesday morning when honorable members, individual members of this House, can have a bill go with their name for signature. And we have said many times, yesterday we did approve, Honorable Speaker, tomorrow morning, we approved Friday morning for government business. Let's as House, Honorable Speaker, I still want to insist, Honorable Speaker, let the House Business Committee of this House allow Wednesday mornings to be for private members, motions or bills. Because it's the only time we have, Honorable Speaker. I submit.
Thank you, Honorable Baya. I'm sure you sit in the business committee. Do you sit in the House Business Committee?
Yeah, once in a while I
do. So just take your seat, no, bye. Just take your seat. Just take your seat. What Honorable Makali is raising is very important. That every time the majority side borrows time for private members' bill, they should refund that time. That's the issue he's raising. And I hope that the leadership has listened to him, and that in future, we could also create time for private members' bill in government, in majority time, to accommodate them. That is his point. Oh, members, I want to put the question. And the question is that this House resolves to exempt the business appearing as orders number 9 and 10 in today's order paper, for the provisions of Standing Order 43, being a Wednesday morning, a day allocated for business not sponsored by the majority or minority party, or business sponsored by a committee. Will, as one of the opinion, say aye? Will, as many opinion, say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, motion, report on the 2025 budget policy statement.
The chairperson, liaison committee.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 48, I beg to move the following motion in an amended form. That this House adopts the report of the Liaison Committee on the budget policy statement for the financial year 2025-2026 and a compendium of the departmental committee's reports on the 2025 budget policy statement laid on the table of this House on Tuesday, 11th March 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 25(7) of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412A, and Standing Order 232, 9 and 10. A, approve the budget policy statement for the financial year 2025-2026. B, makes the following financial resolutions with respect to the budget policy statement. 1, the national government budget ceiling be approved at Kenya shillings 2,523,774,081,480, of which the executive gets Kenya shillings 2,447,536,081,480, and of which the Auditor General gets Kenya shillings 8,652,200,000, and Parliament gets Kenya shillings 49,488,200,000. 2, the judiciary gets Kenya shillings 26,749,800,000. And resolves that the allocation to the county government equitable share be approved at Kenya shillings 405,469,420,197. 3, resolves that, consistent with the latest audited and approved revenues for the financial year 2020-2021, amounting to Kenya shillings 1,570,562,147,014, the allocation to the equalization fund be set at Kenya shillings 7,852,814,725. And 4, approves that the arrears to the equalization fund be set at Kenya shillings
747,000 million 185,275. And 5, approves that the allocation for the county additional allocations be approved at Kenya shillings 69,802,409,623 as per the third schedule to the report, which shall form the basis for the county government additional allocations bill for the financial year 2025-2026. And 6, approves that the allocation for the public participation initiatives be approved at 3 billion. And resolves, as for continuing to resolve, resolves that the first and second schedules to the report form the basis for the ceilings for the financial year 2025-2026 budget estimates. D, resolves that once approved by the House, these recommendations shall form the basis for the 2025-2026 budget estimates. E, resolves that consistent with the resolution of the House on the 2025 medium-term debt strategy, the fiscal deficit is maintained at 4.3% of GDP. And F, orders that the first schedule to the order paper forms the basis for the ceilings for the financial year 2025-2026 budget estimates, and G, makes the policy resolutions contained in the second schedule to the order paper, that is the non-financial recommendations relating to the budget policy statement for the financial year 2025-2026, and H, makes the necessary adjustments to the schedules. Honorable Speaker, I would like to begin by expressing my gratitude to the members of the Liaison Committee for their efforts in reviewing the budget policy statements, and I particularly commend them for their dedication, the long hours, past midnight many times, and worked through to ensure that we were able to complete this work on time. Especially considering that this was the first time that the various chairpersons were evaluating policies at a universal level and not just at the individual departmental committees. Honorable Speaker, the budget-making process from a legislative perspective begins with a review of the budget policy statement, which outlines the key policies and expenditure ceilings based on the recommendations from the sector working groups and the cabinet. Honorable Speaker, in accordance to the Public Finance Management Act and the National Assembly Standing Orders, the Budget and Appropriations Committee usually examines the budget policy statement. But in 2025, it was tabled on the 13th of February and referred to the Liaison Committee on the February the 18th. Honorable Speaker, the Liaison Committee, while finalizing this report, conducted an inclusive process, consulting the departmental committees, the Office of the Auditor General, the Commission on Revenue Allocation, the Parliamentary Service Commission, and the National Treasury to gather insights and discuss budget priorities. This collaborative effort ensured that the recommendations in the report are well-informed, inclusive, and aligned, and also aligned with national priorities. Honorable Speaker, upholding Article 201 of the Constitution, which mandates public participation in the budget-making process, the committee invited the public to submit memoranda, receiving 42 submissions that were carefully reviewed and the views captured in this report. Honorable Speaker, this is the third budget policy statement under the Kenya Kwanza government, aligning with the fourth medium-term plan, which prioritizes a bottom-up economic transformation approach to ensure equitable growth. Honorable Speaker, the budget policy statement focuses on key social economic goals, such as making essential goods affordable, enhancing food security, creating employment, and expanding the tax base, and therefore strengthening our foreign exchange reserves and promoting inclusive growth. Honorable Speaker, the 2025 budget policy statement sets expenditure ceilings for the national government, including parliament and the judiciary, and outlines indicative county transfers for the financial year 2025-2026 and the medium term. Honorable Speaker, once the budget policy statement report is approved, these ceilings will guide the national budget, the division of revenue bill 2020 and the 2025 county fiscal strategy papers in alignment with national priorities. Honorable Speaker, going into the specifics of the budget policy document, the total projected expenditure for the financial year 2025-2026 is 4 trillion 263 billion. That is 22.1% of GDP, and is allocated as follows: Kenya shillings 1.730 billion for recurrent expenditure, Kenya shillings 758 billion for development, and 3 Kenya shillings 1.369.2 billion for the consolidated fund services, and 4 Kenya shillings 405 billion for county equitable share. Honorable Speaker, it is important to highlight that the sectoral budget ceilings for the financial year 2025-2026 allocate 1 Kenya shillings 723.9 billion to education, which is 28.3%, and 2 Kenya shillings 504.6 billion to energy, which is 19.7%, and 3 Kenya shillings 286.7 billion to public administration, which is 11.2%. 4 Kenya shillings 265.8 billion to governance, which is 10.4%. And 5 Kenya shillings 257 billion to national security, which is 10%. And 6 Kenya shillings 204.5 billion to health, which is 8%. And 7 Kenya shillings 103.7 billion to water and natural resources, which makes up 4.1%. And 7 Kenya shillings 78.8 billion to social protection, culture, and recreation, which is 3.1%. And 9, that was 8 actually, so now we go to 9. And 9, Kenya shillings 77.6 billion to agriculture and urban development, which is 3%. And 10, Kenya shillings 59.1 billion to general economic and commercial affairs, which makes up 2.3%. Honorable Speaker, the committee has put forward the following key recommendations, which I strongly encourage members to endorse. And we have divided them into financial and non-financial recommendations. I shall begin with non-financial recommendations. 1, that further to the resolution of the House during the approval of the financial year 2024-25 estimates on re-engineering the integrated financial management information system, the National Treasury to submit by the 30th of April 2025 geographical information of the development projects by the county and constituency to ensure equitable distribution of development projects. 2, that during the submission of the budget estimates for the financial year 2025-2026, the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning to ensure that the projects that are nearing completions are prioritized for resource allocation. And 3, given that several policy pronouncements in the budget policy statements have not been funded before submission of the budget estimates for the financial year 2025-2026 to the National Assembly, the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning has to ensure that these priorities have been factored within the approved ceilings. And 4, that the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning submit to the National Assembly a statement on the fiscal impact of adopting a zero-based budgeting during the submission of the budget estimates for the financial year 2025-2026. And 5, that to entrench oversight of appropriations in aid and earmarked public funds, the National Treasury should do the following. A, collate and report on all appropriations in aid generated by non-commercial national government entities, including fees, charges, levies, together with related expenditure, and projects and programs, and provide the report to the National Assembly by the 30th of April 2025, which is next month. And B, report to the National Assembly on all extra budgetary funds and related expenditure by the 30th of April 2025. And C, by September 2025, propose the amendments to the Controller of Budget Act to provide for the Controller of Budget to approve utilization of appropriations in aid and related expenditure. And D, by September 2025, identify and propose amendments to the National Assembly on the overall framework for the financial management of appropriations in aid, including the repeal of non-critical public funds and appropriation in aid mandates. And 6, that given that the government is relying on the several payment systems for various functions such as capitation for schools, salary payments, transfer to counties, exchequer releases, the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning to provide Parliament with an update on the integration of government payment systems within the IFMIS system, that's the Integrated Financial Management Information System, the entire ecosystem, to enhance the transparency and accounting by the 30th of April 2025. And 7, that during the submission of the budget estimates for the financial year 2025-2026, the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning to submit to the National Assembly a statement on timelines and fiscal impact of merging, restructuring, and winding up state entities in line with the Cabinet decision of the 21st of January 2025. And 8, that during the submission of the budget estimates for the financial year 2025-2026, the IGRTC to submit to the National Assembly a statement of the fiscal impact and the timelines for implementation of Gazette number CXXV1I, number 2019 of 2024, on the delineation and transfer of devolved functions. 9, that during the submissions of the budget estimates of the financial year 2025-2026, the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning to provide the list of public-private projects to be implemented in the year 2025-2026. And that brings me to the end of the non-financial recommendations. And the financial recommendations by the committee are as follows. Honorable Speaker, based on the deliberations and considering the fiscal responsibility principle, the committee recommends that this House resolves to approve the budget policy statement for the financial year 2025-2026. The national government budget ceiling be approved at Kenya shillings 2,523,774,081,480, of which the executive receives 2,447,536,081,480. Of which the Auditor General will receive 8,652,200,000, and Parliament shall receive 49,488,200,000, whereas the judiciary shall receive 26,749,800,000. That the county allocation, the allocation to the county government equitable share be approved at 405,69,420,197. That consistent with the latest audited and approved revenues for the financial year 2020 and 2021 amounting to 1,570,562,945,014 as the allocation for the equalization, and the allocation of the equalization fund shall be set as follows, shall be set at 7,850.
The Honorable Chair, I think you are going through this, so you can just say us about the order paper, because all this is now the order paper.
All right. So thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Just go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, and then that the arrears to the equalization fund be set at 2,747,185,275. That the allocation for the county government additional allocation be approved at 69,802,409,623 as set out. And that the House approves the House further approved that the allocation for public participation initiatives be approved at 3 billion. That the first and second schedule to the report forms the basis for the ceilings of the financial year 2025-2026 budget estimates, and that once approved by the House, these recommendations shall form the basis for the financial year 2025-2026 budget estimates. That consistent to the resolution of the House on the 2025 medium-term debt strategy, the fiscal deficit is maintained at 4.3% of GDP. And also orders that the first schedule to the order paper forms the basis for the ceilings for the financial year 2025-2026 budget estimates, and makes a policy resolution contained in the second schedule to the order paper, that is the non-financial recommendations on the budget policy statements, and lastly, makes the necessary adjustments to the schedules. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and request Honorable Martha Wangare, member for Gilgil and also Vice Chairperson of the Liaison Committee, to second this motion. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Well done, Honorable Chair. Before the Honorable Martha Wangari comes in, members, join me in welcoming pupils from Sheria House, Starehe, Nairobi County, students from Kiurani Boys High School, Mara, Tharaka Nithi County, students from Kasue Girls Secondary School, Kibwezi West, Makueni County, and students from Roysambu School, Roysambu, Nairobi County. They are seated in the public gallery and speakers gallery, and they are welcome to follow proceedings this morning. Honorable Martha Wangari, Vice Chairperson, Liaison Committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Even as I second, allow me to welcome the students that are in the galleries. I know today I'm also expecting Gilgil Day and Koelel High Schools from Gilgil. And Mr. Speaker, you can see how the galleries are full. That is to say we are doing well as a house, and I thank the clerk's office for the proper facilitation of the students, and I wish them well even as they observe the proceedings of this house. Mr. Speaker, allow me to start by joining my chair to actually appreciate the members of this liaison committee. Mr. Speaker, as I had said earlier, is that this is nothing usual. It's for the first time that in this house, in this 13th parliament, the liaison committee has been tasked to act as the budget committee. And Mr. Speaker, what that has done, it has given us a very privileged position as chairs of departmental committees to actually be able to have a dashboard view of how the country is run, ask questions, and that is why, Mr. Speaker, we have been taking long hours to actually also understand very well this budgeting process. Mr. Speaker, the mover has already alluded to the figures, and I know they're on the order paper, so I'll not dwell on the figures, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to just say generally that what a BPS or the budget policy paper is supposed to do is outline the goals of any government, Mr. Speaker, for the upcoming fiscal year, Mr. Speaker, and also guide the decision-making for the upcoming budget. Mr. Speaker, this BPS is also meant to set the fiscal strategy, short and long term, and also assess the current state of the economy, Mr. Speaker, and also inform the House and the public in extension, the resources envelope as it is, and what exactly we have in the pot that we are supposed to share from. Mr. Speaker, I will pick a few issues that are very touchy to members in terms of the recommendations that we have done as we listen to different stakeholders during this BPS hearing, Mr. Speaker. And one of the office that has been very consistent, I would say, is the Comptroller of Budget Office, and has been, I would say, grossly underfunded in terms of doing their role, Mr. Speaker, and performing their mandate. And Mr. Speaker, one of the issues that has been recommended to this House is that because we are a legislating House, we should definitely consider getting the Comptroller of Budget to be able to also oversight A&A money. Mr. Speaker, what that means is that the monies that are collected by MDAs, that are collected by ministries and are not subjected to go to the consolidated fund, then are not in the purview of the Comptroller of Budget. Mr. Speaker, and not just that, even some funds, specifically the housing fund, Mr. Speaker, if you ask the Comptroller of Budget her role in terms of looking after our monies in the housing fund, they will tell you that they are not under her purview. So I would actually hope that this House, Mr. Speaker, takes these recommendations very seriously to be able to look at the law in what can be moved and what can be changed to ensure that this utilization of A&A is actually done in the proper way, and the legal issues that have been raised by the Comptroller of Budget have been considered. Mr. Speaker, that will ensure efficiency of the monies that come under A&A and the ones that come under other funds like housing fund, Mr. Speaker, because they're still public money. And that way we'll have transparency, we'll have accountability, and we'll also have timely implementation of the projects that are supposed to be undertaken. The issue of equalization fund, Mr. Speaker, you know, has been alluded to by the mover, is also very touchy to this House. I know it has been debated at length, and this has also been touched on this report. Mr. Speaker, just yesterday, the county revenue additional bill was actually being debated yesterday, and I think it is very important that it has also been included in this report because some of the issues are pending because of the monies not being available to the counties. But Mr. Speaker, one of the issues that cuts across, regardless of whether national or county government, is in terms of the good use of monies. the prudent use of resources, Mr. Speaker. It is not something that we can ignore. And I think what the public really want to see, even when we speak that we are going to actually supplement our envelope, even from borrowing, the interest of the Kenyan person and the Kenyan Wanjiko, Atieno, Naseria is to see that that money has been put into proper use. And Mr. Speaker, what that means is that if we have said we are borrowing to do a road, we are borrowing to do a dam, has it been done? The other issue, Mr. Speaker, which is very key to this House, is the issue of Kera Kura. Mr. Speaker, this budget policy statement has also recommended that any monies below 50 million that are being procured under Kera and Kura be done at the regional level. That way, Mr. Speaker, we also decentralize the bureaucracy and also ensure timely implementation of projects. So, Mr. Speaker, without further ado, I second.
Honorable members, as you are aware, this motion was moved in an amended form, and therefore I propose the question. That this House adopts the report of the Liaison Committee on the budget policy statement for the financial year 2025-2026 and a compendium of departmental committee reports on the 2025 BPS laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 11th March 2025, and pursuant to the provision of Section 25(7) of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412A, and Standing Order number 232, paragraphs 9 and 10, A, approve the budget policy statement for the financial year 2025-2026. B, makes the following financial resolutions with respect to the BPS. Roman 1, that the national government budget ceiling be approved at Kenya shillings 2,523,774,081,480, of which the executive would be allocated Kenya shillings 2,437,536,081,480, of which the Office of the Auditor General shall be allocated Kenya shillings 8,652,200,000. Parliament shall be allocated Kenya shillings 49,488,200,000, and judiciary shall be allocated 26,749,800,000. This House further resolves that the allocation to the county government equitable share be approved at Kenya shillings 405,069,420,197, and further that, consistent with the latest audited and approved revenues for financial year 2020-21, amount to Kenya shillings 1,562,945,014, the allocation of calculation fund be set at Kenya shillings 7,852,814,725. The House further approves that the arrears to the equalization fund be set at 2,747,185,275. And further that, the House approves that the allocation for the county government additional allocations be approved at Kenya shillings 69,802,409,623 as per the third schedule to the report, which shall form the basis for the county government additional allocations bill of the financial year 2025-2026. The House further approves that the allocation for the public participation initiatives be approved at Kenya shillings 3 billion, and that the first and second schedule to the report shall form the basis for the ceilings for the financial year 2025-2026 budget estimates, and further that once approved by the House, these recommendations shall form the basis for the 2025-2026 budget estimates. Further that, consistent with the resolution of the House on the 2025 medium-term debt strategy, the fiscal deficit is maintained at 4.3% of the GDP. The House further orders that the first schedule to the order paper form the basis for the ceilings for the financial year 2025-2026 budget estimates. The House further makes the policy resolutions contained in the second schedule to the order paper, and that is non-financial recommendations relating to the budget policy statement for the financial year 2025, and finally, that this House makes the necessary adjustments to the schedules. The Honorable Owen Bayer, member for Cliffy North.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to make my contribution to the BPS. Honorable Speaker, the budget policy statement is usually the foundation of the budget and also the foundation for the financial year. And Honorable Speaker, it speaks to the national finance, the money envelope that is available for the financial year 2025-2026. Honorable Speaker, important things to note. If you look at this order paper, Honorable Speaker, although the motion is on the first page, continuing into page 12, Honorable Speaker, there are very important notes, Honorable Speaker, that come in this motion, what is called the first schedule and the second schedule. Honorable Speaker, the first schedule gives the details and the breakdowns per ministry, Honorable Speaker, that is found on page 216 of the order paper. If you look at those pages, Honorable Speaker, you will see that the details of the budget as proposed and the ceilings set on those pages. So you'll be able to see Executive Office of the President, Office of the Deputy President, and it goes on and on until you get, Honorable Speaker, to the last department. Let me get that, members. The last department, which is on Senate, Honorable Speaker, where we have votes for Parliamentary Service Commission, the National Assembly, Parliamentary Joint Services, and Senate. And you end up with having the 2.5 trillion budget, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the import of the budget policy statement that it makes certain important pronouncements, very important pronouncements, Honorable Speaker, that guides on how we will spend the money and also generate the money for the country and sets the ceilings, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I am very concerned and interested in the policy resolutions, because you cannot have a budget, Honorable Speaker, that does not have policy resolutions. These policy resolutions are fundamental in ensuring that the budget is properly implemented. And one of the key resolutions, Honorable Speaker, is that further to the resolution of the House during the approval of the financial year 2024-2025 estimate on re-engineering the Integrated Financial Management System, IFMIS, the National Treasury submits geographical information of development projects per county. Now, that's very important, Honorable Speaker. We have an IFMIS system that has been here for a long time now, and it helps really in managing the finances of this country. But the most important statement that is made here is that the Ministry of Treasury should now submit geographical information of development projects per county and constituency by 30th April 2025. Honorable Speaker, this is fundamental. This is very important because we have had skewed development in this country, where other regions have had more resources and other regions have had less resources. Areas, Honorable Speaker, that have been purposely been underdeveloped and underserved because of political reasons or otherwise, Honorable Speaker. But we are saying, as Parliament, we want to know where these projects are. And I want to urge the guys at Ministry of Treasury to ensure they submit to this Parliament by 30th of April 2025, the development projects per county and per constituency. Honorable Speaker, I want to see how much has been invested in my constituency, how many projects are in my constituency, how many projects are in the county that I come from, and also I also want to see how many projects are in the constituency of the Honorable Speaker sitting, and also how many are in his county. We want to see. We want to see what was being said here yesterday, that other people have benefited more from budgetary allocation than other areas. We want to see, Honorable Speaker, and understand why other regions have more money than other regions. This geographical information is very important, and we await for it in this Parliament on the 30th of April. Honorable Speaker, as you go ahead, Parliament is also requesting for a list of development projects that are earmarked for completion. There are very many, Honorable Speaker, incomplete projects. Somebody, especially the last regime, Honorable Speaker, they come for political reasons, they start a project, you clap for them, and then they disappear. The contractor does 1 kilometer of road or 500 meters of road, then they disappear. Honorable Speaker, this has led to a lot of issues actually interest rates on loans have continued to skyrocket, to spiral, and yet projects are not being done.
The chair gives you an additional 3 minutes, let's say.
Honorable Speaker, so we would like to see this so that this country does not continue to lose money. Honorable Speaker, one of the most important things that this budget statement does, it does one thing. It allocates money, and I want to thank Liaison Committee. It allocates money for equalization fund and then says that the arrears for equalization fund must also be given. You know, equalization is a fund, Honorable Speaker. It is a fund. A fund means each year money must be allocated. And if that money has not been utilized, it stays in the account. It stays in the account. But previously, what we have been done, and all those communities that are supposed to receive equalization fund, the money when it's voted, it's never put in the account. And therefore, all those projects that were meant for that particular year, especially the years when we had a court case, that money was not put there. But I want to thank the Liaison Committee for doing one bold step, that we allocate 7 billion for equalization fund, but also allocate 2 billion for arrears. There are so many equalization projects that stalled because of the court case that was there. And many suppliers had not been paid, many contractors have not been paid. But what this means is, therefore, we're going to have a reprieve. And those areas that needed to have this money for equalization, the money is made available. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the committee for noting that we need to put equalization fund at 7 billion, but also arrears at 2 billion, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, another very important thing that we must note, apart from the money that is going into the money that, Honorable Speaker, is going to the counties, the additional funds allocation has also been factored in the BPS. And I think that is very important because it brings accountability. A lot of time, money is spent without a proper accounting process, and therefore accountability is lost in the process. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I would like to congratulate the committee for ensuring that the additional resources also go into the BPS. Honorable Speaker, I want to speak briefly on agriculture. This BPS also note that by 31st December 2025, the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture and Livestock develops and submits to the National Assembly regulations for hides and skins. Honorable Speaker, we are a livestock country, but we have not benefited from the hides and skins, a big industry that can transform this country. Honorable Speaker, for the first time, this BPS makes such a fundamental resolution that the Minister for Agriculture submits to this Parliament a policy guideline on how we are going to harness the hides and skins that we have to set up factories that are going to employ many people, and Kenya can actually be a net Kenya is going to be a net exporter of shoes, an industry that we used to have butter here, Honorable Speaker, which closed down. And yet, if you go to the north of Kenya, you find a lot of cattle. You go to part of the eastern, you find a lot of cattle. But what are we doing with the hides and skins apart from eating the meat, Honorable Speaker? This is a first step towards industrialization and a first step towards realizing better for this country. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, I thank you very much for the opportunity. And let me also join my brothers in congratulating the Liaison Committee for a job well done. The budget policy statement sets the stage for the budget making process. And what they have achieved under very stringent timeline is adorable, and we thank them. Honorable Speaker, this is unprecedented because the budget making process falls under the purview of the Budget and Appropriations Committee. And because of the lapse of certain committees, the mandate was ably picked by the Liaison Committee, and they have done a splendid job in that regard, Honorable Speaker. The skewed resource allocation in this country, Honorable Speaker, needs to be addressed. Yesterday, I heard the majority leader and the minority leader give a swipe at the outgoing composition of the Budget Committee, Honorable Speaker. And they did give an indication that if the current budget committee, as will be constituted, will play the same monkey business, that they will be facing a dissolution before this House, and it has been done before, Honorable Speaker. Every Kenyan pays taxes. So these taxes must serve as equally, Honorable Speaker. There is no region within the confines of this republic that people don't submit their taxes, Honorable Speaker. It is a constitutional obligation. And therefore, if there are areas where people get more funding to address their needs to the detriment of others, Honorable Speaker, that must be properly addressed, Honorable Speaker. It is high time that we expanded our tax base. We only have the formal sector paying taxes without sweat. But the informal sector, where a huge chunk of money lies, no one really knows and has designed the best strategy to mop up those taxes that are lying out there without the government's attention, Honorable Speaker. Agriculture, when we were in school, and I believe still to date, contributes the biggest to our GDP, Honorable Speaker, at 65%, Honorable Speaker, including provision of jobs. But this is the only sector that is never funded properly or adequately, Honorable Speaker. The Malabo Protocol did give a ceiling of up to 15% of any budget of any country that subscribes to the Malabo Protocol to fund agriculture, Honorable Speaker, but that is not the case up to now. We must, as a country, achieve a balanced trade so that our money, which is in Kenya shillings, can compete effectively against other foreign currencies, Honorable Speaker. Today, our shilling to the dollar is at 129. Why is it not 100 shillings? Why is it not 1-to-1? Because we tend to import more than we export, and as a result, therefore, we lose the value of our Kenya shilling as a nation, Honorable Speaker. If we export, we attract more dollars, and if we have more dollars circulating within our market, it loses value automatically, and that therefore pushes the value of our shilling high up, Honorable Speaker. The education sector has been a mess, especially lately, Honorable Speaker, from primary to JSS, to our secondary, to university, to our tertiary. Something needs to be done, Honorable Speaker, and therefore, if it is a funding issue, then we need to channel more monies, because again, we are not going to, revel at ourselves as those who went to school before the children that we have now, and have the ones that are in school languishing out there. So therefore, we must address this issue of education wholesomely, Honorable Speaker. We must avoid wastages and pilferages of our resources, and certain times we have budgeted corruption. That must stop going forward. The health sector is a great mess. The SHA is not working. The SHIF, the emergency and the chronic funds, all this is a mess, Honorable Speaker. Something must be done in that regard. And finally, we have a very big appetite for loans, both locally and foreign loans. We must find a middle ground as a nation to reduce borrowing so that we can be self-independent.
The Honorable MP for Kwanza.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. First and foremost, I want to congratulate the Licensing Committee for having taken up the responsibility of the Financial Committee, which is not in existence, I understand, and coming up with whatever they have come up. And first and foremost, congratulations. Secondly, as just mentioned, I've not seen a paragraph on incomplete projects in this country. There are very many incomplete projects, and therefore we need to have somebody, at least a committee, be able to be in charge of the incomplete projects so they can be able to have proper funding. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, as we go on, we have a problem of oversight. We have projects that actually are ongoing, and because of the poor oversight, which is, I think, done by the control of budget, I think we had people who have not done very well, misused resources, but at the end of the day, we don't see them actually being prosecuted or at least made to account. Therefore, this should come out very, very clear. Thirdly, the very important issue is agriculture. I think the allocation of these resources in agriculture, I think, is not very good, because agriculture being given only 3% as compared to the executive, I think is something that we have to review as a house, because this country is an agricultural country, both in semi-arid areas and areas that actually are for production of food for both export and local consumption. I think the 3%, we should review that allocation, because that's not important. It's very little, and I think should be something like, because one, it produces the food for our country, two, for export, three, of course, it provides also employment for our people. And I think looking at it, I think this should be a priority sector in this particular location, so that we have enough resources to be able to produce enough, both for export, of course, and for local consumption. And then, of course, as I talk, I come from an area where we produce food for this country, and I was expecting that the allocation would be slightly more than what they have done. So, Speaker, I realize it's not. It's only 3% of the nature of the resources. That, again, is not. Looking at our scarce resources. Lastly, and not least, I want to ask the Committee of Finance, and I think I'm now told it's a licensed committee for the time being. I think let it come up with additional resources to put in agriculture. I want to stress that, because it's important in this country. We don't do mining. We do what we call generation of resources, and misusing the resources properly. And therefore, I think let's put more money in this particular sector. I support.
The MP for Korea East, followed by the MP for Gichogo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity to also join my colleagues in congratulating the Liaison Committee for a job very well done. This is the first time we are seeing inclusivity in BPS and any other matter that concerns budget making as presented in this House. Mr. Speaker, what has caught my eye most is not even the financial recommendations, because that deals with the now. There's not much we can do about it. It is already here with us. What I want to emphasize on is the non-financial recommendations that have been made very ably by the Liaison Committee. Mr. Speaker, geomapping of resource allocation across this country is one of the best things that has happened in this country. The 13th Parliament, therefore, is going to go down in history as that Parliament that actually made steps boldly to equalize resources in this country. Mr. Speaker, we know how the skewed resources has disenfranchised a big proportion of this country to the advantage of a small section of this country. And Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate the Liaison Committee and also thank them for the proposal, the recommendation for a zero-based budget, which is again critical in financial management. This is quite commendable, as is the recommendation that A&A now be under the purview of the control of budget. And in that way, we are going to be able to deal with those monies that come in counties and any other sagas, and then they are not able to be accounted for, and they are left to be at the discretion of those that are in power in the different categories of devolution. Mr. Speaker, I also want to commend them for proposing that the near completed projects be fully funded so that we taxpayers can realize the value for money. Mr. Speaker, there are so many projects across the country that are dotted all over that are just about 80%, 90% near completion. But they're only gathering interests because the contractors are not being paid, and yet we could just inject a few sub-money into it, and then we'll be able to complete the projects, and then they'll be put to use. Mr. Speaker, I want to deal with a project in my constituency, Kuria East constituency. There's a stalled road, Mr. Speaker, that comes from, starts from Taranganya. It came all the way from Masara in Migori to Kehancha and stopped at Taranganya. We have tried to get this road done and completed from Taranganya to Center, Ntimaru, from Isibania to Nyamtiro, across Center again, going to Kegonga, all across to Kugitimo and Loliondo. And this has been a tall order that has prompted us to even bring in the president, who made a presidential directive that this road be completed. And Mr. Speaker, that brings me to the fifth point that I want to raise. Mr. Speaker, this House must find a way of dignifying presidential directives. It cannot be that the president would go around the country, make pronouncements, give directives, and then they just remain that, just directives. We must find a way of making sure that all presidential directives, be it policy that we will come up with in this House, or be it any other form, be it a fund that we are going to create, so that every time the president makes pronouncements, then these pronouncements mean something. Mr. Speaker, there is nothing out of order. You
Yes,
sit
what's
down, you
your point
will
of
have
order?
your time so that there's
You are
nothing out
granted
of
your point
order.
of order. What's your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, is the honorable member, Kiatama, in order to come and start crying to this House, and he speaks to the president almost daily, because I know he's afraid to the president.
Order, honorable member, order. You are out of order. That's not the point of order. You raised the point of order.
Mr. Speaker, when I say he has no point of order, please believe me, he doesn't have it.
Can you give him an additional minute?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you still have your time, I think.
Actually, I was still within my time.
Okay, proceed.
Mr. Speaker, speaking to the president, even on a daily basis, and the policies that we make here do not anchor him, we protect him, so that the country can move forward, is still not helpful. So I think the point here should be and must remain. And one day, the Hornborn member there is going to be a beneficiary of these presidential directives. Because the president means well. He intends to equalize this country. There has been a lot of disunity and skewedness in resource allocation that needs a president at one time or another to levelize the playing ground so that everybody in this country can feel included. Mr. Speaker, you saw yesterday the people of Frere Town crying that they just want to become nationals. I mean, if that means that the president goes there and makes them the 50-something tribe of this country, then so be it. Therefore, the presidential directives must find space in this republic, and this House must be bold enough to create that space so that then the people of Kenya can find equity, and we all of us move together as a people, as envisaged in the Constitution 2010. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for this opportunity, and I do support this amended version of the BPS.
Fair enough, Honorable Kitayama. Where is MP for Gishogo? The Honorable, proceed. Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity, and I also take cue in thanking the Liaison Committee for taking up this matter that ought to have been done by the Budget and Appropriation Committee, which term has lapsed, and that confirms to the entire nation that there is no vacuum in this House, that all the matters in respect of the budget policy statement and the budget can be executed even when the term of the Budget and Appropriation Committee has lapsed. But I believe today will be the day to reconstitute the day as per the Speaker's communication. Having said so, Honorable Speaker, I also support the financial and non-financial recommendation that have been made in this budget policy statement report. And when we are looking at the geomapping of the resource allocations in this country, I think we should not only look at the geographical locations of this country. We should also look at the population aspect of it, because resource allocation should also take care of the populations in those areas, because populations also put pressure on the needs of the resources in those areas because of the required facilities, the infrastructure, and so on. Honorable Speaker, I sit in a Committee of Trade Industry and Cooperatives, and I've seen this government in its policy statement has given emphasis to value chain development, including leather, including edible oils, including coffee, tea, and many other value chains towards supporting them for purposes of export. And I believe that is a policy in the right direction. And we should also, as Parliament, continue supporting the agencies that promote exports in this country, because Forex will stabilize this country in terms of economy. It will make sure that our farmers earn more out of the exports, and especially coffee and tea. And I say so because I represent a majority of my constituents. About 70 to 80% are tea and coffee farmers. So this is an area that we need to put a lot of emphasis so that farmers can earn more. And one of the such agencies that would promote external markets for our products like tea and coffee are Keproba, which is domiciled in the State Department for Trade. And this time, I think the government has also been keen to support Keproba so that it can also be able to showcase the Kenyan products in the oncoming Osaka export promotion. The last time it was in Dubai 2020 Expo. And actually, the report that we are getting from Keproba that exports increased by about 30% out of that expo by Keproba. I believe this time we should be able to reach about 50 to 60%. And the other area that when we are passing the budget, we look at like in my constituency, I have stored rooms because there were not enough resources, but I believe this time, because of what has been securitized through the fuel levy, we'll be able to complete the many roads that are stored in Geshogo constituency and many other parts of Kirinyaga. Including the road which I normally call Mbosivi of Geshogo, that is the belt which touches on all wards in Kirinyaga or Geshogo constituency. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support.
Before I go to Honorable Wangwe and the MP for Kirinyaga, I would want to recognize the presence of Kiatineni Secondary School from a single constituency in Machakos. I want to welcome the students to the National Assembly. And is there any member of parliament from Ukambani in the chambers now as we speak? Under the circumstances, I think the closest place to Ukambani is Garissa and Northeastern. I'll ask Honorable Kainan to give a word of encouragement to the young students and future leaders from Machakos.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to welcome the students to this August House. This is where key decisions concerning this country are made. And I'm sure you're not only the future leaders, but you are also the present leader.
They are actually in the public gallery, so the students from Katerina is here.
Yes. So welcome.
If you want to go somewhere where they can see you also.
No,
No, that is the speaker's gallery. Katerina is here. So go somewhere where they can see the member of parliament who is giving them words of encouragement. Okay, there you go. They can now see you. Proceed. This is the public gallery, that's the speaker's gallery.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pengine Mr. Speaker, leo ndazungumza kwa Kiswahili. Ningependa niwakaribishe wanafunzi kutoka kwa kaunti ya Machakos. Najua hapa ndio nyumba ambayo sheria inaundwa, na nyinyi mkiwa wanafunzi wa sasa ni yumba, yani huyu ananiambia niseme yumba. Najua hapa mmesikia nyinyi mara kwa mara mnaitwa viongozi wa ujao, lakini ningependa niwaeleze nyinyi ni viongozi wa sasa. Mfanye bidii kwa elimu ili muhitimu kuwa viongozi na pia muwe wataalamu. Nchi yetu kwa wakati huu inahitaji wataalamu, kwa hivyo ningependa nichukue fursa hii kuwakaribisha hapa. Msijione, mfanye bidii kwa elimu, mfanye bidii kabisa ili mkihitimu mtapata fursa ya kufanya kazi katika nchi yetu tukufu. Karibuni sana.
Mheshimiwa Kainan, kuna kutunga sheria na kuunda sheria. Kuunda ni kama gari unaunda. Unatunga sheria. Of students from Greensville School from Kajiado. I want to welcome you, Kajiado students, in the Speaker's Gallery. And I noticed the Honorable Parashina is in the house. Honorable Parashina, give them words of encouragement, including taking on you if you don't perform very well in your duties as a member of parliament for one of the constituencies, Kajiado.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and I appreciate that you have given me this opportunity to welcome the school from Kajiado County, to welcome them to this Lancaster House, and then to be able to see and study practically what we do as they follow the proceeding of this house. Mr. Speaker, I would like to encourage them that education is very paramount and is the key to success in life. As you see all of us here contributing as members of parliament, we are always, even us, we used to be like you, our students, we went through the same process, and now we are here as members of parliament where we debate on issues that are of national importance as we legislate and do other duties that this house pertains us to do. So I welcome you here, and I congratulate the school, the teachers, for choosing to come to Parliament, to the Kenya National Assembly, to be able to come and see and study and follow our proceeding. Mr. Speaker, I welcome both of them in the public gallery and also in the speaker gallery. Asanteni sana. God bless you.
I also welcome students from Gilgil Day Secondary School. You're welcome to the National Assembly here. I don't know if the member of parliament for Gilgil or any of the members of parliament. Yeah, the honorable member of parliament for Gilgil was somewhere in the chambers a short while ago. Honorable Martha Wangari, give words of encouragement to all students.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And even for indulging me, we were just consulting, liaison committee has quite some work to do on the supplementary, but allow me to welcome the students of Gilgil Day Secondary School, one of the biggest day schools in Gilgil. This is the third cohort this session that is visiting Parliament, and I've just spoken to them. Their motto is knowledge is power. So I hope that they can absorb as much as they come to this chamber, and that it will help them even in their future endeavors. And welcome all the others that are in the galleries. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Wangwe, followed by Madam Njeri, MP for Kirinyaga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me to join my colleagues in supporting the BPS for 2025-2026. Honorable Speaker, this BPS identifies itself, and I want to quote the citation as being consolidating gains under bottom-up economic transformation agenda for inclusive green growth. Honorable Speaker, you cannot look at the consolidation without looking at the previous years. And I want to look at what happens into the previous years, Honorable Speaker, vis-a-vis the budget that they've given us, or the ceiling that they've given us. This BPS, Honorable Speaker, suggests that the budget for 2025-26 shall be 4.2631 trillion. When you look at the analysis of that, Honorable Speaker, in terms of recurrent at 1.730 trillion, and development of 758 billion, Honorable Speaker, and rework it out in terms of percentage, you find that, Honorable Speaker, 69.5% shall go into recurrent, and 30.45% shall go into development. Honorable Speaker, that means we are not doing very well in terms of what we collect and spend in terms of recurrent and development. We need to really work towards making sure that percentage reverses. Recurrent can be 30, but we use more of what we collect to develop our country, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, looking at the theme of the 2025-26 BPS, vis-a-vis that figure, Honorable Speaker, and then you look at how the government has apportioned the expenditure, Honorable Speaker, I just want to look at the issue that how they've allocated the resources, Honorable Speaker, in terms of health and in terms of roads, Honorable Speaker. Health is getting a very small percentage, Honorable Speaker, whereas we look at the whole issue where, although health is devolved, Honorable Speaker, but what remains up in the national government should also be substantively supported. Honorable Speaker, look at what has been put on education at 28.3%. Yes, most of it could be going to the TSC to employ teachers or support teachers, but what happens? Are we looking at opening up when it comes to the budget, Honorable Speaker, so that we look at individual expenditure of this amount that we are proposing to give them as a ceiling? That is something that, Honorable Speaker, I want to propose, that let it be laid bare. Let it not just come as a consolidated figure when it comes to the final estimates, Honorable Speaker. Let us open it, give it the itemize it all along so that we can be able, Honorable Speaker, to know what is it. And finally, Honorable Speaker, on the allocation, I want to look at the issue of allocation in terms of agriculture. When you look at this BPS, Honorable Speaker, it's appreciating itself in the macroeconomic framework for the 2025 BPS as agriculture being one of the substantive issues that the government is relying on to project the 5.3% growth in GDP. So, Honorable Speaker, if they are looking at it, looking at the growth of 5.3 from the 4.6% in 2024, and you look at the allocation of resources in agriculture, rural and urban development, Honorable Speaker, at 3.0%, then, Honorable Speaker, we are not talking the same language. What it means, Honorable Speaker, we are simply trying to say we will use agriculture to achieve the GDP of 5.3, but we are not supporting agriculture in itself, Honorable Speaker, in the final budget so that we achieve that. What are they speaking in terms of gaining the 5.3, Honorable Speaker? They are saying they are relying on favorable weather condition and implementation of the better. How about if the weather condition changes, Honorable Speaker? We want to look at it like, let us have resources put into agriculture so that, Honorable Speaker, when we speak in terms of achieving the GDP of 5.3, we speak to that and also push for the resources to achieve that. However, Honorable Speaker, there are good things that, Honorable Speaker, this BPS is talking about, and we must applaud the government for what they are able to do. For example, Honorable Speaker, they are relying on the issue of inflation, Honorable Speaker, which we are all feeling. Inflation has come down, Honorable Speaker, in February, compare itself from 6.3% in February 2024 to 3.5% in February 2025. That's something we have felt, and it's something which is all across everyone, driven by lower fuel and food prices. Honorable Speaker, it is something which we really appreciate and say, let the government continue driving the economy at that low inflation rate so that all Kenyans, Honorable Speaker.
Give him an additional 1 minute to wrap up.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for that addition. All Kenyans want to look at that inflation being maintained at that lower number of 3.5%. There is equal, Honorable Speaker, a positive look. When you look at, Honorable Speaker, the current account deficit, this is a good thing for the whole economy. We are doing very well in terms of current account deficit in overall, Honorable Speaker, from the 4.4% of GDP in December 2023, Honorable Speaker, to now a paltry 3.6% as we stand now. That means, Honorable Speaker, when we now compare ourselves to the overall balance of payment, and our current account deficit, Honorable Speaker, is that low, it means we are likely to have sufficient amount of resources to hold should there be a problem in terms of Forex, Honorable Speaker. Our Forex position is good, and we are likely to move on. So therefore, Honorable Speaker, this being the macroeconomic issues that the government is relying on to drive the BPS of 2025, I look at it with lots of hope, and I want to encourage that the government goes in that direction so that, Honorable Speaker, all of us are going to be happy to live in this country. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I support the BPS 2024, 25, 26.
Jerry Maina.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to appreciate the BPS report and commend the good work done by the team. Honorable Speaker, as we agitate for equal distribution of resources, we must also ensure that we hold leaders who are given taxpayers' money accountable. Honorable Speaker, a very unfortunate photo that I saw trending, and I will not name the county, but it is one of the ASAL counties, of a child who was drinking muddy water in a jug. That child did not make any application to be born in that county. As a child who's born in Kirinyaga County, a child born in Kisumu. We know very well that we have the equalization fund, 12 years plus of devolution, because water is now primarily a devolved function. What do we have to show for it? As members of parliament, we must ensure that even as we push for more funding for counties and equal distribution of resources, that the same is applied, because this money is a taxpayer's money. There is no single member of parliament or elected leader who spends their own funds to do or rather engage in development agenda for their respective constituencies or counties. Honorable Speaker, this House must also be accountable and must not absolve itself of accountability in regard to the distribution of the national budget. We were treated to a very melodramatic presentation yesterday where accusations were leveled against the budget committee and the leadership of the budget committee. But we all sit as members of parliament, and we are able to authenticate and even question and query the budget statements that are passed on the floor of this House. So when I see members trying to bedevil each other individually because of perhaps political inclinations, political realignments will come and go. Perhaps maybe Honorable Kenan and I will be on the same side in the next government. So it is very important for us to quit from bedeviling the now, I don't know whether to say former, chair of budget, Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, and he has not been chair budget forever. He was chair budget for, I think, 2.5 years. He was a member of parliament for Kiharu. Prior to that, members of this House have actually gone to his constituency
to benchmark on the work that he is doing for the people of Kiharu constituency. And it is the duty of every member of parliament to sit here when proceedings are going on, when the national cake is being shared, to ensure that the people they represent on this floor get what they are owed by the government, because we are all taxpayers, Honorable Speaker. And we must also ensure that when the president is making declarations, they are declarations that will actually impact on the Kenyan people. I saw a request apparently for a machine that will be making 1 million chapatis a day. We must be able, as members of parliament, to differentiate rhetoric from the needs of the Kenyan people. Because at the end of the day, in 2027, we will be held accountable by the people who elected us here. So even as we have all these other overriding interests and party positions and whatnots, let us think about the Kenyan people. What do we need to match so that they can feel that they are equally represented? I also want to appreciate the recent amendments on the public audit finance, because I have seen an allocation to the committee on security, and I have seen that there's a 32 billion that will be allocated to NIS for covert operations. All these monies must be accounted for, and they must be channeled in a manner that will benefit the Mama Mboga in Turkana, Mama Mboga in Kirinyaga, Kisumu, and all other areas and corners of this great nation. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Is the Honorable Susan Kiamba in the House? Susan? The Honorable Rachel Nyamai? No? Then I'll go for Madame Barto, followed by Honorable Kenan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to also have my voice in the budget policy statement. And I want to congratulate the Liaison Committee for putting their heads together and coming up with a document which is going to serve the people of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, this policy statement covers all the institutions who submitted their statements and culminated to the compilation by the Liaison Committee. And Mr. Speaker, I hope that in this policy statement, which the end result will be the budget estimates for the 2025-2026 financial year, is going to transform society. I hope it captured the needs of every corner of Kenya, so that we should be able to see the executive carrying out their mandate appropriately, Parliament doing the same, and judiciary expediting cases. And Mr. Speaker, I hope it captured it was a need-based budgetary policy statement, so that we will be able to see our constituencies having electricity in entirety. For example, I represent the great people of Moiben constituency. And as of now, we are at 49% connectivity in electricity. I would wish that going forward, after the budget, we raise our connectivity to 90%. We want to see our roads getting elevated to tarmac, and accessibility in the entire country. The president made a pronouncement yesterday of dualing the Rironi to Mau Summit road, which caters for most regions in Kenya. We would wish that that road is done and with speed that it deserves, so that we don't have crisis when our schools are closing, our children are not able to move from one region to another. We would wish to see the stalled projects being completed within the shortest time possible. In my constituency, Mr. Speaker, I have like 3 dams, which have been done since time immemorial. They are 10 years down the line. The contractor shows up on site, disappears. We have a case in point, a school of TVET, which was initiated by Honorable Professor Kamar. That is 15 years down the line. That project, Mr. Speaker, is still a pending project. I wish that with this, with the passing of this budget policy statement and with the culmination of the main budget, let us have all the projects which are stalled. I was just giving a case of Moiben constituency because that is where I represent. But I know in the entire nation, we have so many other constituencies where they have such kind of projects. Our education system has just gone a transformation. We hope that we will not be going forward after the budget has been done. We will not have cases of our students in the streets, our teachers in the streets, our lecturers in the streets, our universities up in the streets, because all the needs which they have, all the resources which they require should have been adequately captured, and also jobs for our young people. I hope in this budget, we are going to sort as much as possible the problems which we are facing as society so that we can have a smooth life all the way in the entire Kenya and outside our borders. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kenan. Did I see Honorable Kore raise his hand?
Mr. Speaker.
You don't have a card?
In the old days.
I'm assuming. Okay, then you'll be after him.
Mr. Speaker, in the old days, this budget policy statement used to be the most guarded secret document actually in the entire country. You remember the way it used to be treated. And that actually gave relevancy to professional hoarders, professional illegal traders, and many other people. But luckily, courtesy of the current constitution, this budget policy statement now is a precursor to the main budget making process. And the main budget making process, Mr. Speaker, is a constitutional role of the Member of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, as we do this, and I look at the theme of this year, is consolidating gains under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda for inclusive green growth. And the word I want to use is inclusive green growth. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the face of Kenya, there are regions that have been neglected over the years. There are regions that have been stigmatized. There are regions that have been bastardized, and you know it. There are regions that have been completely neglected. When will these regions get an opportunity to catch up with other regions of the Republic of Kenya so that we have a society of equity, we have a society of equality, we have a society of the same norms in terms of economic development, in terms of appreciation of the dynamics of the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as we go through these documents, we must also look at the previous budgets. Were there physical disciplines? Were there public accountability? Were there prudent in expenditure? And Mr. Speaker, in all this, because we must also deal with the public perception, there must be equity, there must be fairness, there must be transparency, Mr. Speaker, so that the Kenyan public right now are pregnant with serious expectation with this particular budget, because the president has gone around to almost every region. Mr. Speaker, you know recently, His Excellency the President was in our region, and the kind of wish list that we presented, that wish list will only become a book phenomenon unless there's a budgetary provision. That's why for us who come from that region and all other regions that have been neglected over the years, we must look at this budget making process critically so that we get a share of the national basket. If we don't do it, Mr. Speaker, then we will continue to be at the periphery, we'll continue to complain, and we'll continue also to raise the expectation of our voters without any meaningful development agenda. Mr. Speaker, I know there comes a time when there must be also, if you go back to the history of this country, Mr. Speaker, there are regions, it's a fact. These regions are what gave birth to the Republic of Kenya. There are regions where I come from, and you know where you also come from. I'm sure you have not seen, you have been a long-serving member of parliament. Where you come from, Dadaab and former Lagdera, I'm sure there's not even a kilometer of tarmac road.
Not in Dadaab.
Not in Dadaab. You are retiring.
Yes.
You are now, what will be the legacy? I have served in Wajir West. I have served in Eldas. I'm yet to see, still struggling to have the first kilometer of a tarmac road in Eldas. These are realities that we must face. Somebody else has tarmacked every bit of his constituency and right now attempting to tarmac the kraals of the cows and the hens and everything else. Are we going to live in the same country? How will that child whose kettle bomber has been tarmacked, and that child who comes from where I represent, who lacks water, who lacks basic health facilities, who has never seen tarmac, the very first definition that comes to the mind of that child, school-going child, is what is tarmac. A tarmac is a black substance found in down Kenya. So you must cite that kid. Where is down Kenya? And what is the definitional picture of a tarmac road? These are realities that we must face. And I want all Kenyans here to support the president in his attempt to unite the republic, in his attempt to bring development, to take development to every part of the Republic of Kenya. And we want to say kudos, Honorable Ruto. That is what we needed 60 years ago. That is what we needed 50 years ago. That is what we needed 40 years ago. That is what we needed 30 years ago. That is what we needed yesterday. It is happening right now. You are thinking out of the box. Those who are criticizing you just want to limit you to the village.
Give him an additional 2 minutes. He's also talking for the DAP constituency.
Those who are criticizing the president want to hamper his thinking, Mr. Speaker. They want to limit his extent of creative imagination in order to serve the people of Kenya. And that's what fairness requires, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I remember during the time of the Grand Coalition, you were our Deputy Speaker. You remember one morning we had a visit to the late president, and we took a very serious wish list. Out of that wish list, the road from Isiolo, Marsabit, Moyale has now been tarmacked. Yes. It's my prayer and your prayer and the prayer of all of us that under this budget right now, the road from Garissa, Modogash, Wajir, Elwak, Mandera will be a reality, and that's what the president has promised. So for me, and the road from Garissa, Dadaab, all the way to Liboyo and Kismayo, and the road from Wajir, Moyale, all the way to Addis Ababa, Mr. Speaker. These are the realities that we expect. And for me, when I'll be looking at this budget, get ready. That will be my first entry point, so that whatever that has been promised is turned into a reality. Mr. Speaker, finally on this, I know the management of the National Resource Packet is a very difficult job. It's a very tasking job. So even those members of the Budget Committee, when you are being criticized, that informs the strengthening of the weaknesses that you have gone through. It's not a challenge. So the fact that the members were criticized, that's why we are politicians. So I want to assure you, this budget, taking into account the definition, taking into account the expectation, we will be there to critically look at it and ensure that there is value for every region and there is support for every part of the Republic of Kenya. I support this, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Kore.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. From the onset, I congratulate the Liaison Committee, and I also support the adoption of the report of the Liaison Committee on the 2025-2026 budget, BPS, the budget policy statement report. Honorable Speaker, I will not belabor on what has already been said by my colleagues. I'll just concentrate on a few areas which I think is pertinent to me. Honorable Speaker, I think we need to do some soul searching on the question of how we do our budgeting, just from the budget policy statement all the way to the actual budget that we normally do annually. Honorable Speaker, there are areas which are always a problem. For example, we are having a crisis in the education sector. You know, the university funding model is running through some challenges. We are seeing unions from universities to secondary schools always threatening to go on strike because of the lack of funding for the comprehensive bargaining agreements. We have seen a lot of challenges in infrastructure, for example, in JSS, But every time we come up with a BPS and every time we come up with our budgets, we find these areas are not covered adequately. Even in our health sector, we are running through a lot of challenges. The question around SHA, one of the reasons why I'm told SHA is running through the problems it's running through, among many other problems, is the fact that not adequate funding is being provided for SHA. Honorable Speaker, I think we need to review on how we do our budgeting so that we look at some of these critical areas which are always a challenge to our people, especially in the education sector and the health sector, so that we can adequately resource these areas and actually take care of them. Honorable Speaker, electricity, particularly from the region where I come from, is a major thing. As we speak, almost 60% of Mandera County is in darkness because of lack of electricity. The diesel-generated power is no longer sustainable, and it is giving a lot of problems to the people in our region. The biggest town in my constituency, for example, Elwak, where I represent, has been without electricity for the last 6 months. And as we go through Ramadan, there are a lot of challenges for electricity in that area. And yet we are unable to provide electricity for these areas. Honorable Speaker, one area I will also zero in on is the area around low-cost boarding schools. Picture this, Honorable Speaker. We have been giving low-cost boarding schools 400 million per year since 2003. And this is supposed to be for 411,000 students. That is 5 shillings per student per day for 180 days for school calendar year. That is supposed to cover breakfast, dinner, salaries for staff and support staff, and also beddings and infrastructure like constructing the boarding facilities for those schools. Honorable Speaker, this is very unfortunate because imagine 400 million for low-cost boarding schools since 2003. This is unfortunate, where actually in our prisons, and I take no offense in mentioning this, where in our prisoners are given 105 shillings per day for their meals. But for boarding schools, for low-cost boarding schools, our students are only budgeted for 5 shillings per day, 480 calendar days. So, Honorable Speaker, these are some of the areas that we need to look at. And given the theme and the mood in the country right now, as spearheaded by His Excellency President William Ruto, the question around equity, equality, and inclusivity should be reflected in all our processes of budget policy statement and also our main budgets. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Kipchumba from Marakwet.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to contribute on the budget policy statements. Honorable Speaker, that budget policy statement gives us an opportunity as a country to lay our framework for development in this country. Honorable Speaker, we need as a country to get our priorities right. And there are sections of this country, Honorable Speaker, that have been neglected for quite a long period of time. Honorable Speaker, development in this country, if you look closely, is that this country developed along the railway line. If you look from all the way from Mombasa to where the railway line ended, that is where development in this country was focused, because goods are transported along that line, and that is where our development as a country was focused. Honorable Speaker, the other day I was in Wajir, and I was also in Turkana County. And I've said here for the record that for this country to develop, we need equality. And that is why it offends some of us when, for example, a legislation like the Equalization Fund, a law that was meant and was passed in our constitution by the people of this republic to bring equality all across the country and to bring areas that were marginalized historically to the same level to where other areas are in this country, a formula was introduced that law was also meant to benefit areas that were not originally meant to benefit under that equalization fund. So, Honorable Speaker, even as we look at this budget policy statement, and I've said here for the record, if you look at a country like Turkana, I say Turkana, for example, Honorable Speaker, fits into three countries. I mean, three countries can fit into Turkana. That is Burundi, Djibouti, and Rwanda. The three countries combined is 76,000 kilometers square. Turkana County alone is 77,000 kilometers square. So, Honorable Speaker, even as we look at this budget policy statement, we must look at the development of Kenya as a whole. And I want to thank the President. The other time he was in northeastern Kenya. I talked to my friend here, Honorable Haro. I was asking him what is the percentage of connectivity in terms of electricity in northeastern Kenya. He told me it's about 15% or less. In Elgeyo Marakwet County, the average connectivity is around 25%. Honorable Speaker, if you ask another county in this country, they have 89 to 98% electricity connectivity. Honorable Speaker, that is an inequality that we must address as a country so that we develop uniformly. It is unfortunate that other counties are 100 years ahead of other counties. Until when will we be able to equalize? So the others there, we saw the president was on Northeastern, and he promised in terms of even the national grid, we need to take it to part of Northeastern to be taken to Turkana County so that Kenya is served equally. Honorable Speaker, if you look at those areas that I've mentioned, those are very productive areas in this country. If we focus on putting the right resources, establishing irrigation schemes in those areas, then, Honorable Speaker, I have no doubt that this country will prosper. If you look at a country like Egypt, it depends on River Nile to feed these people. Here we have Lake Baringo, we have Lake Turkana. Honorable Speaker, we have Lake Turkana, and the people of Turkana are suffering from anger, and that lake has not been properly used so that irrigation is done in that part of the country. Honorable Speaker, even as we unite the country politically, we must also unite our country in terms of development so that everybody gets an equal share of development in this country. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Enough, the chair is tempted to stomp. Chair, for one moment, feels like he should have been on the other side so that I can stomp my feet, but I can't do it from where I am. Thank you, Honorable Kipchumba. The Honorable Dick Maundu. Dick. Honorable Dick Maungu, sorry.
That is a correct pronunciation.
Yeah, Maungu.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, allow me to join my colleagues in also adding my voice to this important subject on the budget policy statement. Chair, budget policy statement is an important framework within which we as a country expect to operate our budget for the financial year 25-26. And Chair, the budget stipulates and sets out clear ceilings, clear allocations to various sectors. And it's my prayer, Madam Chair, that this policy statement will move in to address the inequalities we have suffered as a country. Chair, when I speak where I come from, people may imagine that Luanda constituency is one of the best doing constituencies because it is an urban area. But unlike that, Chair, Mr. Speaker, electricity connectivity is at 1%. We have very many stalled projects, including roads that began more than 10 years ago, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is my prayer that this statement will address the historical injustices we have seen in terms of resource allocation. It's my prayer that this statement will move into to bring in equity and equitable distribution of resources. Because we have a country that is so unequal. We have a country where other regions are doing pretty well, other regions are struggling, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, over the years, we've had budgets tabled in this House, policy statements tabled in this House, but they move in towards specific areas. We have constituencies in this country whose electricity connection is over 90%. We have others who actually survive at less than 15% or thereabout, Mr. Speaker, including mine, where we have around 31%. It is therefore my prayer and desire that going forward, as we discuss the budget policy statement, as we discuss the fiscal allocations in this budget, Mr. Speaker, we should be able to ensure there's prudent allocation of resources, there's accountability, and transparent resource allocation. This will bring about equity. This will bring about inclusion and feeling included. This will bring about people feeling that indeed this country is for all of us, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have a number of stalled projects in this country. I happen to suffer one or two. We have projects that began years ago, yet we continue to see new projects being undertaken, new roads being constructed, yet we still have pending projects that began decades ago, Mr. Speaker, that ought to be completed before we can actually begin others. Last year, we had several strikes in the area of education. Lecturers on the streets, students in the universities on the streets. Our young boys and girls in high school did not receive their capitation. All was because we had allocations that never reached their schools, Mr. Speaker. It's my prayer that as we talk about fiscal accountability, capitation to schools must actually be reflected in the schools, Mr. Speaker, so that our kids who are under the free day secondary program can be able to enjoy learning. It is my prayer, Mr. Speaker, that capitation for university students, right now we have a case in court whereby the new funding model has been stopped. Our kids who are in universities continue to suffer. It's my prayer that through this budget policy statement, that we may have maximum allocation to these universities and our schools so that our kids may enjoy being in school, Mr. Speaker. I therefore say thank you to the committee that came around with this and hope that even as we come to the budget statements, it shall actually be able to capture the aspirations of Kenyans and ensure there's equity and equitable distribution of resources. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, before the Honorable Korere takes the floor, I want to recognize the presidents and welcome the students from Greenview School, Karasarani, in Nairobi. Welcome. They are in the speakers, they're in the public gallery. Do we have an MP from Nairobi who is going to give I can proceed, Mheshimiwa. Yeah. Yeah, they're still missing. Okay, get closer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Indeed, it's a privilege to grant me this opportunity to talk to our young ones. Sometimes, Mr. Speaker, when we are in the village, we always have meetings with women, the elderly, and they tell us, honorable members, when you get an opportunity, tell our young kids to go slow on alcohol, even love affairs. Our children, they receive a lot of love letters, and it distracts them from their education. The children should be actually the roses to their parents. They should come slow on drugs. They come slow on absconding their duties, both at home and at school. And you should know that cooking, washing utensils, they are not gender roles, but they are basic skills that help them in growing. So our children know that we love you very much. Please work hard. It is a common saying that you are told, and always aim high. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I also want to recognize the presidents of Roysambu Junior School from Roysambu constituency in Nairobi. Welcome, very much welcome. And I'll ask the Honorable Owembaya to say a word of encouragement to the students from Roysambu Junior School who are in the public gallery. You are a leader in the house, so.
Thank you, Honorable.
You represent the country. You don't represent just your constituency.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as I welcome the students from Roysambu, I want to say
This side, look at this side.
You're welcome to the National Assembly. This is the guest house where policy and certain rules and statutes are passed. But above all, I want to encourage you. You know, I used to be a student at Kenyatta University many years ago. And that was how I associated myself to Roysambu. And Roysambu was a small growing town then in the early 90s. I know a lot of them, even their parents had not met. But then I want to encourage you as you pursue your education, always have a vision, but that vision must always have a focus. If you have a vision without a focus, you may not achieve much. So I want to ask the students that are visiting Parliament today, please focus on your studies, have ambition, plan to succeed, and plan to emulate great minds of men and women in this country. I wish you well, desist from deviant behavior, but walk on the straight path, just like your teachers tell you, so that you can become successful in life. Otherwise, welcome to observe the proceedings of the 13th Parliament, and welcome to the National Assembly. Thank you.
Finally, in recognizing students, I also want to recognize the presence in the Speaker's Gallery of the students from Loreto High School. Welcome to this institution. It's welcome to this institution called Parliament, the National Assembly. And I will ask the honorable member, the lady honorable member sitting next to Martha Karua, to give your fellow ladies the words of encouragement, the fellow girls. Girls.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to welcome the great students of my dream school. If I was to be younger, I would want to go to Loreto. I want to encourage the girls that you're in the best place. This is Parliament in person, where you normally do your history and 3 arms of government. This is one of those arms of government. We want to wish you the very best, that you work hard, that you can be anything in this world that you ever want to be, and you have the energy, you have the opportunity, and you have the strength. Please go for it, and you will surely get it.
What's your point of order, Honorable Yamai?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Please very kindly allow me to also welcome the students.
Fair enough. It's not a point of order, but I'll allow you to proceed. Honorable, you're a senior member of this House and indeed a role model for most of the girls in the country, or all the girls in the country, or ladies. So proceed and give these ladies words of encouragement.
Thank you for your kindness, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as I welcome these students from Loreto, it's a wonderful school. It is a school where so many young people would love to go to, and it is a school where they can excel, and go all the way to the place where they would like to go. So we welcome you. As I say, that Honorable Speaker, I would like to say that the Honorable Mother Wangari is the one who is seated to the member who welcomed the students from Loreto. And you said Mother Karua. Mother Karua is a very nice person in this country also, in her own way. But Honorable Speaker, we do not have Mother Karua in the House. I think you meant the member.
I meant Martha
Wangari,
yes.
Mother Wangari.
Indeed, yes.
Member, third-term member of Parliament, who has really shown that a woman can be nominated in this House for the first time through affirmative action and go all the way, be elected, and be elected again. So these students from Loreto, you can be what you want to be. Just follow Mother Wangari. And then later, you can also think of Mother Karua, the one who is being mentioned by the Speaker.
I think I've had in my psyche Martha Karua for far too long, because we came to Parliament on the same day in 1992. But nonetheless, I recognize and respect very much the indomitable lady Martha Wangari. Please do say a word of also encouragement yourself too.
Thank you very much.
And I want you to do this because we also have Father Makewa High School from Yatta, and Ngira Umoja Secondary School from Maragua in the Speaker's Gallery, in the public gallery. So you address them both, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I don't mind you comparing me with Honorable Martha Karua, who is my senior, and also share the two names, Martha Wangari. But more importantly, thank you for the clarification. We share the names, not the same person, but walking in the footsteps to serve as many years as we can in this house. Mr. Speaker, allow me to recognize the students as they are coming in. And I had said earlier, Mr. Speaker, it's a very busy day. If you go outside here, there are very many schools queuing to come in. So I would want to encourage the girls and indeed the boys, Mr. Speaker, because a balanced society has to have both gender so that we are able to make a balanced community, and encourage them that they can learn as much positive as they can from this house to ensure that it contributes to their future. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Korere. Sarah, proceed and contribute on the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also want to add my voice on the budget policy statement. And Mr. Speaker, indeed, a lot of people have spoken into the inequality in this country. And Mr. Speaker, we really have to amplify our voices on the same. Mr. Speaker, I say so because I honestly want to believe that the budget policy statement before us is going to address the inequalities that has been witnessed in this country since time immemorial. Mr. Speaker, you know, equity and inequality are two different things. And Mr. Speaker, when we come to this parliament and we are told that money is allocated equally to all constituencies, when we know very well that we are not equal. Mr. Speaker, if you come to Laikipia today, Laikipia County in general is 9,600 square kilometers. Laikipia North as a constituency is 5,600 square kilometers. It is bigger than Laikipia West and East combined. But when you look at the 22%, the monies on the roads, we are allocated exactly the same monies. With a constituency, for example, Mr. Speaker, in central Kenya, say Murang'a, for example, Kiambu, where the member of parliament can wake up one day and go around the whole constituency before midday and come to attend sessions in this parliament. Mr. Speaker, you wonder where the equity is. It is very, very unequal. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, in this era, in the 21st century, in northern Kenya, in Laikipia North, while people are talking of stock exchange, we are still talking of stock theft. Why? Because, Mr. Speaker, when the monies for low-cost boarding is being reduced, and when government officials who have no idea what children in northern Kenya go through to go to school just sit down and make a statement, a blanket statement, that they are going to abolish boarding schools, including in northern Kenya, it is pathetic. Honorable Speaker, you know, you cannot budget monies, more monies to feed prisoners and reduce monies to feed our school-going children. Mr. Speaker, the other thing is, when you look at the wastage, even the wastage in government offices is
Tunaingia vijijini, mijini na hata jijini kukuletea taarifa mchana kutwa. Usiku tunaketi kitako, tunadadavua tukichanganua taarifa na makala muhimu yanayokuhusu wewe na familia yako. Ungana na Bernard Ngozi kwenye Open Forum Political Show kuanzia saa 4 usiku hadi dakika zake kila siku ya wiki kwenye
you flash these pictures in the Facebook and in WhatsApp, it is demeaning to those people. And Mr. Speaker, this country is in a position to make sure that the agriculture sector, they pump money into production. You know, livestock keeping is not backward, but for a very long time, Livestock keeping has not been looked at as an economic way of life. That's something that can uplift the economies of this country. And Mr. Speaker, when I look at the budget for livestock, I just see a lot of reduction. Mr. Speaker, beef industry is $1 billion industry. We know that Kenyans love nyama choma. Nyama choma don't grow on trees. They are got from cows, goats, and sheep. So, Mr. Speaker, I truly want to believe that this budget policy statement is going to address that. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the stalled projects. We are seeing new projects coming up. When you go, for example, in...
Can you give an additional 1 minute, 2 minutes, 2 minutes actually to Madam Correa?
Thank you, Speaker. Doldol headquarter, which is supposed to be the sub-county headquarter for Laikipia North, since independence to date, there is no single tarmac road in that constituency. The only road that was launched in 2021 is tolled, Mr. Speaker. So I truly believe we are not going to see a round of new projects while we still have old projects like the Doldol Nanyuki Road, the Rumruti Nanyuki Road, and finally, Mr. Speaker, we saw our intern doctors on the streets. We know we need these intern doctors. We need doctors in this country. Me and you don't have to fly to India, to London to get attended to, because we have people in this country who can attend to us. We'd rather start putting our priorities right, not upside down. Honorable Speaker, I want to believe with the stewardship of Honorable, His Excellency, the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, I believe he's one person who understands what Kenyans are going through, and I want to believe under his leadership, we are going to address especially the inequality where some Kenyans have become more equal than others. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Parashina, the MP for Kajiado South, followed by the Honorable Mary Ann.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also stand to first of all support the report on the budget policy statement for the financial year 2025-2026. And I want to appreciate work done by the Liaison Committee. This report really covered a lot of areas that are very important and instrumental in this country. Mr. Speaker, as I also support the report, it's good to emphasize something more on the county allocation that was given 4 or 5 billion. And I want to say that the general picture, or what are the framers of the new Constitution 2010 thought when they introduced the issue of county, is that development goes across the country. I don't want to say that in terms of allocation, things are happening. But again, when you go to the counties, sometimes we feel we are let down because the Republic and our people are not getting the real services that of the money which has been allocated in this house, Mr. Speaker. And when I saw the work which has been done, if counties can able to take the amount and understand that the money is supposed to help our people develop and help our people get services, I think as a country we are heading somewhere. Specifically, I also want to mention about county aggregation industrial park. And then the main issue was the value chain, that every county is able to produce or concentrate in a certain area. For example, Kajiado, maybe you can talk about leather or milk products or even tomatoes, because also we have them, another part of the country. But I think the pace in which the county aggregation industrial parks have been done, totally, we might not be able to achieve in this first year, in our first term of 5-year period, because up to now, you see maybe 19, which has been done, or which are in the plan. But we are really not seeing the speed at which the work is in the process of making those small industries being done. Specifically, there's something that has come out this year, the KENAS, Kenya Aggregation Services, whereby we need to accredit our
our products. So it may be in UAE, in Europe, in America, and we could not be able to do much because we never had an accreditation body recognized internationally. But now the money that has been allocated to Kenya is a plus to us. And I think if there's something this parliament has done justice to our country in terms of the business people, or where do we want to see our country in 5 years to come, is bringing now Kenyans. So you see there have been a lot of complaints about products that are being checked by KEBS. But now even KEBS themselves are also having another body which is going to oversee them. And that is a plus to the report that we are debating today. When you go to issue of environment, carbon credits, resource mobilization framework that has been proposed, Mr. Speaker, I'm having a feeling that we need to check that one. Clearly, when we want to do tax against carbon credits, and the market totally is international, we might in a certain time, maybe in some years to come, and investors might choose to go other how the framework is going to work out. Mr. Speaker, I come from ASAL areas. That is Kajiado. Sorry, I just want an next 1 minute to just, I'm concluding here, Mr. Speaker, sir. There's this issue of merger. The cabinet proposed merger, and I see in the report that the Intergovernmental Technical Committee is supposed to bring a report, because I feel...
give him an additional minute, 1 more minute, please.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker.
Wrap up, yeah.
As Madam Sarah Korel, Mheshimiwa Sarah Korel has spoken about issue of other areas that can be marginalized or left behind. Mr. Speaker, I appreciate that it has been captured here. There is a proposal of merging up the ASALs, or those parastatals that fall under ASAL area, and the northern corridor. And Mr. Speaker, if there are a lot of projects that we have that are stalled already, for example, the tomato factory that is being done by NCDA in Kajiado South, that project needs allocation of 200 million plus for it to get a kickstart, and which can provide employment to our youth. But now it has been proposed, it's in the proposal that that also NCDA could be merged up. Mr. Speaker, as members who come from the ASAL area, we feel that the time that report will come, we'll be allowed to debate keenly. Because the moment they get ASAL from our area, we will lack water, we will lack other facilities that are very instrumental to our areas. And I plead that let the House consider the report with the condition that once the report is going to be tabled by Intergovernmental Technical Committee, then we might request that this ASAL cannot be cancelled now. If it will be cancelled, let it come after 2027. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Marianne Keitani.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand to support the budget policy statement. The 2025-2026 budget policy statement has laid and has read on the floor. And the reason for this is because the budget that has been approved with a ceiling of about 2.4 billion at the executive will go a long way in helping to achieve a lot of the development agenda that we have looked for in this country. The Constitution of Kenya talks about equity and equitable distribution of resources. And in this budget policy statement, we would like to see equitable distribution of resources like roads, areas where I come from, like Aldai and Nandi, which has not been seeing a lot of development in roads, we should be able to get some. And similar to places like where the president was the other day, that is Northeastern, they should be able to get also equitable resources of redistribution of resources like roads, water,
and all those other resources to be the same as any other part of this country. And in this budget policy statement, Honorable Speaker, I know that we've put a lot of development in terms of creation of businesses, or creation of businesses in this country, and getting a good environment for our businesses to thrive. A case in point and an example is that in the counties, we have actually put money for county aggregation and industrial parks that will spur economic growth, because it will allow the youth, the young people, and the people in the communities to be able to grow business and be able to develop businesses in environments that are already pre-done under the county aggregation and industrial parks. Also, the special economic zones, the EPZs, those are the areas that we hope to see a lot of development or a lot of infrastructure development going in there, so that investors who are coming into this country, as well as our own local investors, have a nice leveraging environment to be able to grow their businesses. Because we find that a lot of people who want to start businesses find a very uphill task trying to put up a warehouse, to put up electricity, to put up all those infrastructural requirements, and that becomes it becomes a negative, because they may not be able to have those resources. But if we are able to create parks that are plug and play, these investors come in and start doing direct investments, then we find even the unemployment that we are talking about from our youth becomes an easy and becomes a better place where this youth can get employed. So the cost of unemployment, we hope in this budget policy statement 25-26, we'll see a lot of development and a lot of resources put in places where our youth will get employment. I know the president has been moving around when he's doing opening projects in various parts of the country. He's right now in Nairobi, and in any of these areas, there are many programs that he raises and says that they should be done. I think in the budget policy statement that we have read for 25-26, if a lot of those things are put in that statement, we expect that this country will become not only a middle income earner, but it will actually grow threefold to become one of the top tier in Africa and compete with the other developed countries in the world. The proposal that we have is to have our GDP growth be at 15% by 2028. And with this policy statement that we have, we expect that particular growth to go in that direction, because a lot of the programs that are being proposed in the budget policy statement will go a long way in helping this country achieve the kind of targeted areas. And especially in those particular parts of this country, because we are saying that the resource allocation become equitable. So in those areas where the resources have not been over time, have not been equitably given to them, if this particular statement considers those particular areas, you can imagine the kind of growth that this country will be looking up to. And remember, this is the year that we really must see a lot of development in this country, because we are approaching an election year, and many times during an election year, very little development happens. So we have an opportunity as a country, as we pass this budget policy statement, to ensure that the resources have actually been equitably distributed, and we ensure that development has actually happened within our country. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I say support.
The Majority Leader, followed by Agnes Parejo and Ivo Barra.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. So rise to support passage of this budget policy statement for the financial year 2025, 2026, and the medium term. Honorable Speaker, this BPS comes at a time when our economy is recovering from what was in 2022 a very dilapidated economy. You remember, Honorable Speaker, members, you remember, this administration came into office in 2022 when our inflation rates were very high, the exchange rates were very high, and today, including the exchange rates, Honorable Speaker, today we are at a position where now the inflation rate is at an average of about 3.5 in 2025 February, as opposed to the 9.6% that was there in 2022 October when this administration came into place. And this has not been easy to achieve, but it has been a result of a lot of concerted effort to reduce the cost of commodities, especially food items, and the massive investment that has been done in the agricultural sector has indeed paid off for our country. And today, we are not only food secure, but this food security has also ensured that our inflation rates, our exchange rates has also stabilized, and even our interest rates have begun coming down, and you've seen the rush that is there among us commercial banks to reduce on the interest rates. Mr. Speaker, you'll see that our 91-day treasury bills have declined from 15.7% in December of 2023 to the current rate of about 9.6% in February of this year. Again, our exchange rates, as I mentioned, from a high of 160, 159 about a year ago to an average now of 128 to 130 shillings. And if you look at those who buy the dollar, we'll see in the last 1 month, it has almost stabilized about 128 to 129. Honorable Speaker, this year's BPS, or Budget Policy Statement, basically highlights the progress that we have made in the implementation of the BETA strategy, or the bottom-up economic transformation agenda that was anchored on the 4th medium-term plan of our Vision 2030. And that tells you, Honorable Speaker, that we continue being consistent in pursuit of the Vision 2030 and ensuring that all our medium-term plans fit into the bigger goal and vision of 2030. Honorable Speaker, the National Treasury, when they submitted this budget policy statement this year, members will note, and I believe even as I thank our Deputy Speaker for able leadership of the Liaison Committee and the entire Liaison Committee that has considered these BPS together with our departmental committees, they will appreciate that this BPS has been prepared in the backdrop of an economy that is rising, an economy that is recovering steadily and stabilizing. And indeed, we can now proudly say that our economy has stabilized. The debt challenge that we had is also being addressed very well. And I'm happy that even this budget policy statement has laid very good or special emphasis on fiscal consolidation to reduce our public debt vulnerabilities, while providing fiscal space to deliver on essential goods and services, especially in ensuring that we have adequate funds to roll out the development agenda that we have promised the people of Kenya. And I am happy that even as we assert we have stabilized our economy, we are also opening up the fiscal space to be able to roll out development programs. And I must also use this opportunity to thank and recognize the efforts I have seen even from the Office of the Comptroller of Budget. Honorable Speaker, recently when we said that there are issues in the Comptroller of Budget's office in terms of accountability, when they do well, we also recognize, and I must recognize the work that I saw her roll out yesterday in terms of establishing a framework on approval processes that will ensure counties and county governments are able to access money, and the approval process is seamless. And it is clear the criteria on which approvals are made from that office, so that governors and county government officers are not extorted by officers in that office, because it is a fact of life that that extortion has been going on. But I am glad I saw yesterday that action has been taken following those calls that we made in this House, Honorable Speaker, and also in ensuring that there's a criteria set in terms of approval, even for development work, so that we do not spend all our money on recurrent expenditure, both in the county level of government and also in the national government, Honorable Speaker. And I'm sure even towards the end of this week, without anticipating debate, even as we work on the Division of Revenue Bill that will be coming for first reading, hopefully before we commence on the short recess, these are some of the issues even our county governments will look into. Honorable Speaker, as I said, the efforts to bring down our public debt are quite evident, and people will bear me witness that our public debt is on a downward path that is consistent with our debt anchor as passed by this House and our colleagues in the Senate. I've said this, Honorable Speaker, that this BPS is anchored on those two issues of fiscal consolidation and proper management of our debt vulnerability. And Honorable Speaker, on tax measures, Honorable Speaker, part of that fiscal consolidation efforts, as we reduce our public expenditure, Honorable Speaker, we also look at boosting our revenues. And I'm happy that this budget policy statement speaks to measures towards enhancing our revenues. And I'm happy that this has been brought to us as a combination of tax administrative matters, not just increment of taxes, tax policy reforms that include strengthening our tax administration to enhance compliance, in order to expand our tax base, but also more importantly, to reduce our tax expenditures, Honorable Speaker. And in reduction of tax expenditures, Honorable Speaker, members will remember even last year's finance bill had very good measures on reducing tax expenditure. Very good measures. Because tax expenditure, Honorable Speaker, at the end of the day benefits more of business people than the consumer. And especially in the area of value-added taxation, because that is the area that we are most vulnerable in terms of high tax expenditures. Because you find so many exemptions on VAT and other taxes that ought to benefit consumers, but end up only benefiting the traders and business community. And Honorable Speaker, I am glad that the National Treasury has seen the need to ensure that we minimize on tax expenditures while also leveraging on technology. And I must speak to this, Honorable Speaker, because we have been told over the years we will leverage on technology to enhance revenue mobilization and revenue collection, but we never see it coming. I know and I'm aware the Kenya Revenue Authority is working on a robust program to relook at their systems, right from their custom system, their income tax systems, Honorable Speaker, and I do hope that it will not just be another year of talk, and endless talk, that we will see the actualization of these measures to leverage on technology, revolutionize our tax processes, seal loopholes where revenue leaks out of the system, and generally enhance efficiency through the use of technology, both in our MDAs and also leverage on technology, even for taxpayers to make it much easier for taxpayers to settle their tax bills and their tax arrears, and also be able to communicate more effectively with the revenue officers and the revenue systems at KRA. And Honorable Speaker, I say that because there are also measures, and I spoke to it last week, because I see, again, in this budget policy statement, in terms of strengthening our expenditure control and improving efficiency and effectiveness in public spending, the National Treasury is telling us that they will also ensure that they leverage on technology, on e-procurement, to have an end-to-end e-procurement system to maximize the value for money and increase transparency in procurement. Honorable Speaker, these are very good semantics. And I reminded the National Treasury last week that none other than the President, in his State of the Nation address towards the end of last year, committed before this House that he has directed the National Treasury to ensure that e-procurement is a reality before the end of the first quarter. Let me remind CS John Buddy and PS Kipto and those who are in charge of the National Treasury. We have less than 45 days to the end of the first quarter. By the time they bring the annual estimates, we want a report on the actualization of that directive by the President on e-procurement, because we cannot talk about efficient procurement, efficient use of public resources in terms of public expenditure if we are not leveraging on technology, Honorable Speaker. And I know there is immense resistance in government on e-procurement, but it must be done because it is the right thing to do for the country. It may not be popular with our procurement officers in the public sector, Honorable Speaker. It may not be popular with many business people who rig the system to get tenders that they do not deserve or for amounts that do not give value for money. But it is the right thing to do for the country, and we must insist as a House, and that's why I have taken liberty, Honorable Speaker, to remind the National Treasury that as they bring their annual estimates later next month, they must also give us a report on the status of implementation of e-procurement. Honorable Speaker, lastly, in conclusion, let me urge the House now that we have concluded with elections of some of the departmental committees that had the election this morning, including the Budget and Appropriations Committee. As I congratulate the Honorable Atandi and the Honorable Robert Pukose, I want to urge them and all members of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, adhere to what we said yesterday. Do your work in the best interest of the country and to ensure there is equitable share of resources across the country and across all our counties, and also to ensure that the budget ceilings as approved in this BPS process are adhered to by all MDAs.
The Honorable Parejo Agnes, followed by the Honorable Obara Eve.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support the liaison report on the budget policy statement. I support this statement with the hope that it will address issues that are affecting our constituencies. Because at the end of it all, it is the constituencies or what they benefit will matter. And I say so, Mr. Speaker, because I see that in terms of equitable distribution of resources, we are not all equal. I look at my constituency, where I come from, we still have problems with the roads. Our roads are unpassable. And I hope that this statement will address issues affecting roads in my constituency. My constituency, we produce wheat, and every time that we harvest wheat, there is always a problem of brokers coming in between, importing wheat, and therefore we don't get market for our wheat. And this is what our people expect to develop their families and take their children to school. And I hope that because of the roads that we have, and we have no dryers that they can take the wheat, so we are always on a loss. And every year we argue, every year we have a problem with the government because we have no market for our wheat. And I expect the statement to look into the roads, look into electricity connectivity, because we all need what other Kenyans have. We have no electricity, we have clean water, we still drink water that is not fit. Because I think it will look if that happens to other constituencies. Because we are not all equal. There are people with tarmac roads. And when I stand there, we have no single tarmac road in Narok North. That is the constituency I come from. And that is where we get wheat. That is where we get potatoes. That's where we feed Nairobi. Yet, when it rains like yesterday, I was receiving calls from everybody with an where they expect me to do the roads for them. But when I look at the resources, they are not there. So I want to ask the government to look to constituencies or those areas that are not developed, because we are not all equal. With those few remarks, I want to support the statement with a hope that we'll see equitable distribution of resources. Okay. We do also have a National Cereal Board, where these people are supposed to take their wheat when it is raining. We have no dryers there. I still want to remind the government that we also need dryers for our people to avoid their wheat being destroyed in their farms.
Okay, Honorable Ibabara,
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, because I wanted to say something on the boarding schools, because I don't support boarding schools.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed, Honorable Ibabara.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to also support the passage of this budget statement. Mr. Speaker, I had actually put up my hand at that time. I wanted to welcome, just before I get into the budget statement, I wanted to welcome the girls from Loreto High School. Mr. Speaker, that is actually my school.
Oh.
I'm an old girl of Loreto Limuru, molded to who I am today by Sister Mary Owens. Mr. Speaker, we are two in this house who are old girls of Loreto, myself and Rosa Buyu, for the information. So Loreto girls, thank you very much for coming. And I want to say that for Loreto, the sky has always been the lower limit. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As I get to the policy statement, Mr. Speaker, my focus is on the issues of concern that have been raised in this report. If you look at the various departments, there are critical issues that have been raised that should have been addressed many, many months or many years back. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the Department of Education, there's been a back and forth on the issues of funding.
You have just 2 minutes before I call upon the mover to reply because of time constraints, but proceed.
On issues of the new funding model. Mr. Speaker, I don't have to repeat what has been said about the challenges that our students have with this new funding model. And it is raised here, and I'm happy that it has come up, and the department given a deadline of 30th June to make sure that this matter is sorted. Two, Mr. Speaker, is on the issues of TVET, with a clear guideline to stop the confusion that we see when it comes to matters of promotion, deployment. These issues are critical issues that affect the department, and this deadline must be honored, Mr. Speaker. And not only that, in other departments as well. You can see that deadlines have been given, but we must focus on these deadlines to make sure that we hold the departments accountable to do the things that they're supposed to do so that the resources are equitably distributed amongst Kenyans. Mr. Speaker, thank you. For the time that you have given me, I would have said much that have been raised, but given time, I will discuss it at another time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. The Honorable DS, I presume you are initially laying on the table the supplementary estimates. And then after that, you will have to reply. I mean,
Honorable Speaker.
And give notice of motion as well, please.
Yes.
Yeah, proceed.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 12 March 2025. This is the report of the Liaison Committee on its consideration of the second supplementary estimates for the financial year 2024-2025 and a compendium of departmental committee reports on their consideration of the supplementary estimates. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Notice. Go ahead and give the notice.
Honorable Speaker, I also beg to give a notice of motion on the consideration of the second supplementary estimates for the financial year 2024-2025, that this House adopts the report of the Liaison Committee on its consideration of the second supplementary estimates for the financial year 2024-2025, laid on the table of this House on Wednesday, 12 March 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 223 of the Constitution and Section 39 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and Standing Order 239. That one, approves the supplementary estimates 2 for the financial year 2024-2025 as indicated in the schedules to the report. And 2, resolves that the schedules form the basis of the introduction of the Supplementary Appropriations Bill 2025. And 3, orders that the Speaker do now leave the chair to facilitate the consideration of the budget estimates with respect of each vote and program in the Committee of Supply as contemplated under Standing Order 240. That is consideration of the supplementary estimates in the Committee of Supply. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable DS, Deputy Speaker, now you reply. The mover for the budget policy statement has to reply now.
Honorable Speaker, Thank you very much for the opportunity to reply. And even as I beg to reply, I wish to thank all the members of the Liaison Committee for the hard work that they put in ensuring that we did complete this process. And secondly, I also wish to thank the members who have supported every aspect of the motion, and also for the commitment that they have made is ensuring that this particular budget is properly implemented. And also, lastly, I would like to congratulate the new chairperson of the Budget Committee, Honorable Atandi, and also to welcome the new budget committee, the incoming budget committee, and then I wish to request them to ensure that they adhere to the ceilings as set out in the BPS and also in the supplementary budget too. And with that, Honorable Speaker, I beg to reply.
Members, we have 2 minutes to go to the conclusion of the morning session. And for the convenience of the House, I will now adjourn the House. And the question on the budget policy statement will be put in the afternoon. Honorable members, please rise. Honorable members, the time being 12:59 p.m., this House stands adjourned until today, Wednesday, the 12th of March, 2025, at 2:30 p.m.